fucking Amazon show is gonna be ass. Holington the Ninth.
Which show?
That Lord of the Rings Amazon show. Have you seen anything of that?
No.
Have you seen anything?
I know it
of this?
exists. I've completely forgot.
Oh my god.
Because I know Jason's
Middingshire the
working on
15th.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Really?
Oh my god.
Have you seen?
Looks
You've
so
seen like
bad.
you've seen visuals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't what.
It's not what Jason's working.
Oh,
on,
okay.
no.
This is something else.
No.
Yeah, no.
What if we just we're clear for takeoff?
What if we just shit on Jason though?
You seen this dumbass show?
seen
This
this-
jerk is working.
You're
on?
this tsunami shit. You're
No,
this-
that'll probably be sick because it's anime Lord of the Rings, which is fire.
Yeah. Even
would
if
be
it's trash, it's gonna be amazing.
Aesthetically.
Like I said,
right.
I'll be able to throw that on the TV in the background.
Did you see the anime Star Wars?
What do you mean? Clone Wars? Gendy Tartakovsky?
No, the new one. It was Visions, I think.
Oh, I didn't peep. No.
Yeah, bro.
No one
Aesthetically, very good.
Okay.
Aesthetically, very good. They like bounce around between. I think Studio Trigger did a couple of them. At least one of them.
What did they do?
Studio Trigger did like Promare, which I know you've seen.
I wasn't a fan of it.
No, but like
Promare?
Promare, it's this like have you seen Gurren Lagann?
I've heard of that.
It's the same studio that did that.
Okay.
Aesthetically, everything. They also did Kill la Kill, which like
Oh, that's a crazy looking show.
that's a crazy looking show, and they did some of Star Wars Visions. That studio.
Okay.
That show, by the way, lesbians love that show.
Kill la Kill?
Yeah, like consistent.
Girl on girl type vibes.
I mean, yeah. I guess I talked to somebody the other day, and before I knew anything,
This is Promare.
That's
by the
Promare.
way. Do you recognize it? It's not that. It wasn't that. It wasn't
I've
that
never-
popular.
it's not a
Folks,
it's,
I've never seen this ever.
It's not really a good movie, but
Oh, it's
like
a movie, okay.
yeah, but aesthetically it draws from Gurren Lagann a lot. Like the main dude is basically the same character as like one of the main dudes from
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
Kill la Kill is about that girl who goes like to school and shit.
Yeah, where
Something
they
like
yeah. This is the girl who goes to school and
Isn't
shit.
that
What's
anime
that?
about a kid going to school?
You ever heard of this anime? It's about a kid going to school.
And there's fighting?
Sits by the window a lot.
Yeah.
What is that?
Daydreams, bro?
Yeah.
As the clouds go by and the cicadas.
Yeah, it sits by the window so they don't have to draw all the other classmates. You know that one? That
As the
anime?
clouds go by and the cicadas.
Dude, when I was at Six Flags back in like fucking 9th, 10th grade, my friend and I were hitting the Screaming Eagle, big wooden roller coaster, and we were doing
sentence. Hold on. Can we take that in?
Screaming
We were hitting the Screaming Eagle.
classic coaster.
Me and the birds were hitting
Classic
the Screaming
cast.
Eagle.
Six Flags St. Louis. If you've been there, you know what's up. It's one of the better ones, and the end part is just the end part is
Screaming egg.
you're going 70 like on the low bumps like this, and we were like, woo! This kid, it was like the summer where there were so many cicadas in St. Louis. It was like the play, you know, like every 7 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And he
17.
17,
hit
yeah.
in the fucking head with a cicada, and it blew up. Like it exploded on his face. He was like, "Oh!" I was like, "What was that?" And he had like, it looked like he had like a fucking artichoke thrown at his head, but it was
my God.
cicada guts all over his
Ugh.
chin and
That's
shit.
that's like the last thing I think would happen to me on like a wooden roller coaster. Every time I
Right.
go on those, I'm like, this thing is gonna break. I'm gonna die in this. Yeah. Is that,
I was gonna
is
go,
that your
who's
ringtone?
boomer ringtone was
It's the for folks at home. It's Noir.
oh Noir,
is that
yeah.
what it is?
The one that's like,
Is that one of the presets? That's
Yeah.
That's
Well,
built
I've-
into the
I've
phone?
had
that's
that.
like some Sony Ericsson shit.
I've
Yeah,
had that
right.
for
Wild.
Sony Ericsson.
Motorola rocker shit.
yeah.
Fucking Sidekick 3 type.
Right.
That's
right.
wild. That comes on the iPhone.
Dude, that's
They
been
have
my
Yeah.
ringtone since like before college. Since like 2012.
That was like
tradition.
that moment was the exact opposite of in Inside Man when he calls that dude's phone and
I love
Gold
that
Digger
movie. I
and
forget
Gold
what you're
Digger
talking
starts playing.
Oh yeah.
You remember he like calls him, Gold Digger starts playing, and then Clive Owens like goes in for a couple minutes, and he's like, and then he grabs him in the most ridiculous, just like, just full body, and drags him in the closet.
Dude, that's a classic.
Bro,
Remember we were talking about iRobot? Like that came out that same kind of time.
Yeah. That was back when we were like still okay.
You said Gold member?
Huh?
No.
No, Inside Man.
But Goldmember.
Where did I get Goldmember
I saw
from?
Goldmember in theaters.
How did I go?
Yeah.
Where did I? Oh,
Bro,
we were just talking about.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, we were just talking.
Oh, yeah.
The new fucking.
Oh my God.
No, what did you say in the chat?
topic? Sins of Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Oh, he has crimes yet to pay for.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Someone pulled up the Love Guru.
Oh,
and it
you
just
did,
looks
right?
bad. Well, on
did.
Twitter, someone reminded me of it.
Oh yeah. Just what a sin on humanity.
Bro, and that movie was a stinker when it came out. It's not like oh man, I shouldn't have gone to see. Like no one saw that.
Out of all the people, Mike Myers is the one, like, person I still kind of can't believe I met.
Oh, you met
him?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've told y'all the story.
And he was like
when I was,
really cold and weird.
Yeah. I was working in retail, and I was like isolated on this top floor, and he came up in like a fisherman's outfit. This is in Soho, New York City, and I'm not saying like it was like. You know, he was
a bucket of chum and a
well, he had like a fisherman's like bucket hat on and like a rain jacket and like baggy cargo pants. It was like that kind of vibe.
Bro was on that fucking Arc'teryx wave early.
Right.
Yeah. And I think I told y'all like I tried like I wasn't socially weird or anything. I was just being normal and like asking how he's doing, and he had this look like he was, you know, like completely desensitized, potentially sociopathic because of it. Like
Right.
you've been through so much that you're just desensitized to regular social interaction. So it's like he's just like looking through me, type deal. And that was that was it.
Yeah.
But,
just like you don't recognize people as human beings.
Right.
It's that like
it's deep. Yeah.
I feel like it's that like that fame shit where you're just perpetually trying to figure out if you know someone. You know that experience where you're just like you just have met so many people where you're just like, have we met, bro? This is me doing Wayne. Have we met?
Yeah. I feel like I low-key already do that shit just with like people who just, because I feel like people don't think about how it comes off if they recognize you. They don't think of how they're behaving when they do that, because it's just and I'm just like, yes, what you're thinking, yes, like, you're right.
Like that dude last week just walked by, called you just by your first name.
That was
like,
so bizarre. I didn't know if that guy knew me. He was like, hey, Connor.
Yeah.
I'm like,
did we go to school together? What is that? What are you doing?
Call me if you want to just say you're that TikTok guy. That's way more normal.
Yeah.
Call me by my government.
Yeah, that's why I love that. Like
that shit was alarming.
Like, I love that everybody that knows me is like super into anime, so they're all a little bit like socially awkward. So they'll be like,
"That's
hey, are you Yedoye?" And they'll be very forward about it. I'm like, yes, I am. And then they blindside me like, yeah, we met 3 years ago. No, okay. Yeah. No, I really appreciate that shit. Like, it throws me off every time.
It's cool, but I can. I mean, it's like, it's kind of scary because you start thinking about like as resources get more scarce, like people are gonna jump you more. It's more likely harm is going to come to you if you're like, even if you're just famous. You know what I mean? Like even if you just have that resource, it's more likely harm is going to come to us. I'm just being real. Like, like as things get more, it's like, oh, that guy, let's take him hostage for water. Like that'll happen.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what just happened to Dave Chappelle.
Look at what just happened.
Oh my god.
I mean, come on.
Oh my
tagged
god.
him with a Kingdom Hearts weapon or some shit. It was like a fucking 8-inch revolver with a fucking sword.
With a sword on it, the gun blade.
I still haven't been able to visually piece together what it was.
Yeah.
You know, all the reports were just like a gun that shoots. It was like a gun that shoots sharp objects. Like that's the default description. All of the fucking
it's just a bunch of.
I'm like, what is?
I'm like, what is that? Tackled him.
Yo.
He got him down.
He had an Inspector Gadget device on his ass.
It's just a bunch of reporters that never played Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah,
they're like,
a raver came on stage and attacked him with like a fucking
right. Dave Chappelle,
fucking Buster sword. Imagine he got killed with a Buster sword, sliced in half.
Dave Chappelle attacked by Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
Attacked by an otaku with a Buster sword.
Dave Chappelle sliced in two by a Buster sword in Hollywood.
Dave
Bowl.
Chappelle decapitated by an otaku.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle
Just Rogan-
sliced into pieces by Sephiroth.
Rogan being like, I mean, it's crazy, man. They're just a Buster sword.
The weeaboos are taking over. Yeah.
I mean, just let people get these Buster swords and run. Pull that up, Jamie. How long was the Buster sword that decapitated Dave?
Oh, he got
Really sad, man. Really sad
man.
state of affairs.
What
he got
model
him-
was he using? That was a Buster?
It's amazing how rich Joe Rogan is, and he's still just like, Elon Musk really is saving us. It's like, you have all the resources in the world. No one's come up to you and been like, hey, you know he does all this shit, right? Like, no one's ever challenged you.
That's how.
And you're a chill guy. You're a chill guy who's always, your brand is, I see both sides, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you've never seen that side where someone's been like, hey, look at these clowns you're
It's
hanging
like,
out
hey man, you know Elon Musk killed a dude with a keyblade, right?
with?" Yeah.
You just poked right through him.
Him and Donald Duck were fucking running emerald mines. Yeah,
Gosh, where'd you get that one?
Yeah, yeah. He made Goofy kill a South African dude with a shield.
it's a pump and dump scheme. Dodge to the moon.
It dodged to the We're just killing the heartless in the emerald mine.
No, don't worry. It's the heartless. We're in for it.
Oh, gosh, don't worry. They're heartless. They're just so heartless. He's saving the world, Sora.
Elon in a Kingdom Hearts game. That's coming, bro. We're gonna see shit like that. For sure.
Right.
Jeff Bezos is gonna be in a goddamn Mario Kart game.
They're gonna buy their
Yeah.
way into video
Yeah.
games.
right.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Jeff Bezos is gonna be a Fortnite character or something.
Oh,
like that.
100%. 100%.
oh God.
Jesus Christ, man.
He and I got that same eye thing where one of them's a little lazy than the other, like that Paul McCartney thing.
You have that?
I feel
A
like
little bit.
I feel like everybody's got that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I feel like
Maybe
a little
you know
bit,
the
I
way like
guess.
it's really
Yeah.
hard to draw eyes. Like eyes and hands. I feel like God has that too.
God was like,
Yeah.
fuck, this shit is hard to
Yeah.
make it symmetrical.
It's like, look, man, I got one. I got one good
God,
one.
God was like, dude, I'm too fucking croaked and crocked for this right now, dude.
Yo,
I'm
too-
cronked out of my mind
too
right now,
fucking
dude.
geeked right now, bro.
It is crazy how much like attractive people have really attractive people have zero personality. And how like a lot of that comes from
It's very
needing one.
It's very rare to like
Yeah.
to find someone who's just like, yeah, and then they're also, we were talking about form and content the last
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
I feel like
Form
Form and
versus
content.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
They're all
like
form.
that shit is
Physical
like,
form.
but it's
Raw
like
form.
it's like
Yeah.
if you're genetically just so happen to be gifted with that form,
Right,
you don't
right.
have to rely on content as much in a lot of
Shit is
situations.
really sad. Like when you
Yeah.
meet those people, there's just nothing going on,
Yeah.
Right.
and they think there is.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And that's
when
not
they
to
think
and
there
this
is.
isn't
Yeah.
to stereotype attractive people.
Fuck,
or
we can do whatever the
Yo.
fuck we want about attractive people.
Yo, my favorite.
I don't give a fuck. If you're attractive, you're dumb as shit. Most of the time. You're a loser and you have nothing to say. Most of the time. You're an exception to the rule if you don't. You know, the attractive community, we gotta be sensitive to that.
Yo, my
Fuck
favorite.
that.
My favorite thing is when an attractive person does have a personality. We all mutually agree, like, oh, they were ugly as fuck as a kid.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, that's
sucked
the
as a-
assumption.
Yeah.
It had to be.
default.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no
And
way.
those are the dangerous ones. Like you can tell Meg Thee Stallion, like she's real down to earth, like
Right.
chill.
Yeah.
But she's fire. That's why it's dangerous.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll glow up like those really fire women that are
It'll-
like super into anime. You
Oh,
can be like,
yeah.
they had a phase.
Oh yeah.
And then they glowed
This is-
up.
right.
You know?
Right. He's like, oh, I
I
didn't
think
know.
no offense to Meg Thee Stallion. I think no, I'm not saying anything, but you know.
But imagine growing up and having like a handful of Pokemon cards, be like, oh, I didn't know I didn't need this shit. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
She-
fuck
she's
fuck
so-
attractive people's feelings. I don't know.
She's so dope to me, man.
She's
Just like,
fire.
I mean, every time she posts about fucking My Hero, I'm just like, if I was in Texas, man.
I'm legitimately a fan of hers in every respect. I think
Yeah.
she's an incredible rapper. Yes, she's very attractive. She's really good in terms of media personality.
Yeah.
I think she handles the fucking social media thing and being a real person really well.
Yeah, it seems like she just has fun.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man.
She's important. She's showing that like it's not about blah blah blah. It's like, no, I'm gonna dominate and I'm gonna know I'm the shit. And if you had a problem with it,
Yeah, and I'm gonna finish my degree.
yes.
I don't know how the fuck she does that, man. That shit. I would have. If I got famous in college, I would have been done.
Yeah,
I was so stupid at that age.
Yeah,
I was so dumb.
that mad respect for that.
Yeah.
No, I would have. Yeah, I went to college with kids who were sons of famous actors, and they just did not finish.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't even like lit like that. They were just like, they were just like well connected, and they didn't even finish.
Right.
So for her to do it and be like, oh, I'm gonna take pictures of my grad, like that's crazy.
Right. I mean, maybe that just speaks to the Black experience and your parents just being like, you gotta have something to fall back on.
Who know? And
This rap thing will blow up.
fast,
you know, they'll
maybe
MC
she had to do
hammer
it for
you.
her mom type shit, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I think attractive people.
I was gonna say
It's
that's
very hollow when they're.
That's an interesting thing to like try and unpack. I'd be
What's
curious, like what studies there are on. I mean, I've looked at some studies on like attractiveness and like you got some shit on.
Oh, I got some
yeah
burns on me.
There's gonna be a compilation in a few years
that.
of just like you got some stuff on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, now like studies and articles on like how you measure attractiveness.
Yeah.
More on that side, but like to move past that and then look at how that does shape you as a human being and your character, and like there's probably got to be so many factors to account for, even just given that it's like, okay, so you're attractive in terms of gender sex dynamics, that's gonna shape a lot, you know, in a patriarchal society or whatever, in a capitalist society. But then also like you could, you know, going through trauma or going through whatever that's gonna shape
Build
something
character.
else. Yeah,
Right.
that's gonna shape something else. And like, you know, it's like just because you're attractive doesn't mean it just like negates kind of like
humans,
everything, all, you know, human stuff all across the board.
Right.
So it would be like an interesting thing to like unpack. But yeah, no, you do see that though, you know, if like if you're afforded more shit because of how you look, in so many ways you're probably not even conscious and aware of even.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
like,
it's
you-
like
you don't even-
it's probably like analogous with studies on power in general. It's like if people treat you as though you have some type of, which they do when you're attractive, they treat you like people treat you like they can get something from you, you know, your whole life.
People will treat you,
You
well
know?
without even realizing they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You're attractive.
Right.
People
Exactly.
are literally attracted.
Like when you realize you've done it yourself, this shit is so embarrassing. Because you think knowing about it, you're above it. You're just like, I would never do something so stupid. Like, and then you go and like see somebody attractive, and you're just like, what can I do for you, man?
Yeah.
And
It was like that one Amy Schumer joke where she's like, her friend said Kate Upton was funny. She was like, and the joke was like, I'm gonna beat you in pool. Like, like that wasn't funny. You're just attracted to her.
yeah, she's fucking hilarious, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that like, but that thing of it almost becomes a disservice. Like it horseshoes around it.
Yeah.
It actually becomes a huge impediment or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Later in life, where you've not processed things about your character or life or not getting what you want type shit.
Yeah.
And it takes you decades, if not ever. That's the shit that's really sad, is that people can just literally not get to the end of the game character building wise. Like they can just die without learning internal shit about themselves, or insecurities, or like
That's all jokes aside. That's like one of the darkest
that's what I'm saying.
thoughts
Right.
and possibilities to me out there.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, people just don't get any level of like actualization, you know?
No
Just fully-
perception on themselves, no acceptance
Right.
of themselves,
No
just constant fighting,
No
until they're dead.
self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just internal conflict
Exactly.
constantly.
Yeah,
but even like
denial.
awareness of self in the broader world. So
Yeah.
having some type of conception of the broader world and yourself in it in a way that's grounded
yeah.
in reality in some
Yeah.
way.
That's why
shape,
death
or
is scary for a lot of people, because it's
Right,
like, oh, if I
yeah.
don't have a personality or a consciousness or an ego, what am
What
I?
am I?
Right. Right.
That's what that DMT shit does.
'Cause
It
it's
just
all-
goes. It just like, I've never done it, but I'm just saying, like, it just takes away
Yeah.
consciousness basically. So that's why you feel like you're dead.
Dimethyltryptamine,
Yeah.
you ever done that?
You ever done DMT? Sora, you ever done DMT? Sora and Donald and Goofy. You guys ever done DMT?
Sora, you ever blow a line of DMT off that Keyblade? Sora, you ever try that?
What is the enemies called? The Darkness or whatever the fuck?
The Heartless.
The Heartless. Oh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And if we're having the Kingdom Hearts conversation, we can go there too. I can rant for an hour about how heartbroken I've been.
You want to know
God,
who has been a Kingdom Hearts fan since I knew him, since I met him? How long ago was 2006? 16 years? Max has always been a die-hard Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah.
Forever.
I mean,
and y'all are too.
Yeah.
What is it as someone who's never really dove into those games?
You never play. You didn't play the Kingdom Hearts game?
Just like I bought the first one as a kid and I played a little bit of it. I was never a big RPG guy, but what is the big thing with Kingdom Hearts?
Part of it for me was because I grew up watching my brother play Final Fantasy, and I also wasn't really an RPG dude. Because I like fighting games. I like just
the immediate
the motion,
kinda,
And so like Kingdom Hearts was the first one that bridged the gap where it was like, oh, you get to you can actually fight and you can do all this other shit.
Right.
And then I think Kingdom Hearts 2, they kind of like blended it even more, where you are like, it's live fighting, but also there's the little drop down menu where you can like switch up your moves, do all this extra shit, and you have your cutscenes, all that shit. And it was
to build on that from my point of view, because it was a similar dynamic with me, but I was, as maybe some people have picked up already, I was a Disney kid as a kid. Unfortunately.
Now, why were you? Was it like that was all you could watch type shit? Or
I think that was a part of it, because you know, Connor and Yedoye know this, but you know, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian household, so my parents are very strict about what I, you know, could and couldn't consume from an entertainment standpoint. So I think that was a part of it, but you know, I also think most of the time I talk about Disney, I'm going to be shitting on Disney, so I don't think it's a problem for me to say that, you know, as a kid during that time, Disney was just like it was a powerful, all-encompassing force in terms of entertainment. Yeah, and for all the shit that they've produced, relatively speaking, and I'm when I say relatively speaking, I'm really thinking about Ghibli films and like other forms of like entertainment that is for kids or whatever.
Right. That's like distribution, to be fair.
Right. Yeah. But all of that aside, you know, they had a lot of good shit too, or entertaining shit, at least baseline.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So for me to see that, you know, those worlds collide, specifically Disney, I'm like seeing Disney characters and all this shit meeting this.
Right.
I had a conception of, you know, rather an understanding of like RPGs and like Final Fantasy, but it was just like a very inaccessible foreign thing for older kids. And so it felt like, oh, like they're making this easier for me and it's and more interesting for me.
Right.
But also just aesthetically and artistically, I was absolutely captured by the music, by the fact that it was at the time for me, it was a relatively new console. I was late in even finding out about the PlayStation 2.
Right.
I was playing a broken hand-me-down PSX from one of my mom's coworkers' sons for years.
That's so funny.
And then I found out that the PlayStation 2 was a thing. And then I'm watching Disney Channel, and I remember the promo, like the marketing campaign that they had for the first Kingdom Hearts game, and just being like, what the fuck? Like, I need this game. And then my parents surprised me and my siblings with a PlayStation 2. This was the best Christmas I had my whole childhood. This was I think about it all the time. Because my parents, my family didn't have a lot of money, so this was like they fucking got us a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube the same Christmas.
Same thing happened to me.
Like you're burning a child's psyche out,
bro.
Literally, to this day, it makes me emotional.
It
makes me so emotional because I didn't, up until that, I was maybe 8, maybe in that window, or 8, 9, like, and up until that point,
10 or less. Yeah.
Yeah, up until that point, like I didn't have video games. I didn't have access to this kind of technology or this kind of media. The glimpses that I would get would be staying with friends that were spoiled or something,
Of course.
or going over to the neighbor's house or something
Older
like
brother.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So this was just, it was like some holy grail shit. And the first game, of course, that I popped in and that I looked at on the TV screen was fucking Kingdom Hearts.
That's wild.
That's amazing.
And it just completely just captured me and took me away in a way that man. It's
Yeah.
like I don't do drugs, but I'd imagine that's like what that first hit of something is
that
like.
escape.
Bro, that the first time I heard that music, that shit hit me so hard.
Yeah.
Like it's a rare
Utada.
Yeah. Just like it's rare that like a game soundtrack will just hit me just right.
Yeah.
From the first beat.
In your fucking
just,
heart, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Like
You just hear that. You're giving me too many things lately.
I just remember what's it called? The gummy ship?
Oh yeah.
I hated that shit.
Me too. That's why I kind of didn't get into that game.
They were
right
like,
away.
this is for the future engineers and scientists of the world.
I tried.
I'm like, yeah, no, fuck that shit. Get me from point A to point B, please.
I gave it a chance. I tried to build them, and then I was just like, I don't build shit in real life like that. I don't even play with.
I'm
Legos
remembering
like that.
also, again, Connor and Yedoye know this, so this is reiterating something that we talk about. But I'm one of the rare few black Tim Burton fans and stands in the world. I'm on my goth shit, low key. But to see fucking this Japanese RPG world collide with Nightmare Before Christmas, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Is that in the first one?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the second game.
No, I think it's in both. They
Okay.
redid. They brought back some of the same levels for the second one.
Yeah, that one.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty
I
sure.
think you're right.
No,
I
that's a
think you're right.
powerful combo of subcultures right there.
Yeah.
Anime and Nightmare Before.
Yeah,
Christmas.
that one, and I want to say I feel like Lion King hit me really hard just because they transformed into a lion. And all
Maleficent
this
is
shit.
the one I remember the most.
Yes,
in that first game.
Yeah, it is in the first
Bastion.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween Town.
Is it Hollow Bastion? Is that right?
Halloween Town is. Oh, are you talking about?
I'm talking about toward the end. What is it? Hollow Bastion?
You're just talking about another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another level called Hollow Bastion.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was.
The first game I had a similar thing where I think I asked for a PS2. Like it was like the first, like I wanted video games since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I wanted, I like the moment I got a touch of video games.
Do you remember what it was?
I mean, bro, I was 6 years old doing plays backstage. Kids had the original Game Boy, like the big fat one.
Yeah.
And playing like Paperboy on that. And it was just like crack to me. Like I said it last episode, but from the moment I touched that shit to basically 13, 14, even through high school, I got rid of my video games at the end of high school. But like when I went to college, I sold everything. But fucking... Yeah, I wanted a fucking system so bad. My cousin had an N64, like playing Smash Bros on a giant CRT TV.
Yeah, those were my neighbors.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. But like the year I was able to actually get a console was 2002, I think, and I chose the PS2. I like got to choose. I like asked for it, I think, or I asked Santa, whatever, and like. Because it was like GameCube, PS2, or Xbox at that time, and it was just like PS2 for some reason. I knew it was between GameCube and that, but the first game I ever played was NBA 2K2. And it was like the Chicago Bulls spotlight on like the hardwood floor, and my dad was like, "Wow, look at that! That's so realistic."
The graphics.
And like my dad and I,
we had NBA Live 2K3.
Yeah,
and my mom was
yeah.
like, "This is for your dad," knowing damn well my dad's not gonna fucking play video games.
Bro, that's so funny because my dad, for what is now a light bulb flash of my life, but like for probably 2 weeks he tried to play that game with me, and we did. But the real first game where it was like that feeling was Sly Cooper 1.
Wow.
I popped that in, and the first level where you're robbing the French police station and then jumping over cars while the girl shoots you and shit.
Fuck 12.
Yeah.
I fucking... Yeah, exactly. That game's about fucking ACAB shit.
Yeah.
the enemy of that game is a cop. And I played through that game straight. And that game is a masterpiece to me. That game is incredible. Same thing, music, vibes, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, PS2 was it. But that's crazy. A GameCube and a PS2 at the same time. That's like,
Yeah, I also had that.
To this day, that dopamine hit is still hitting to this day.
Right.
It's still hitting to this day. But what you just said reminded me, thinking about the PSX, it was that my mom's coworker's son gave to us. Funnily, and this goes into like I feel like a broader conversation, but like it didn't hit me until recent years that I had been listening to grunge and like specifically Soundgarden.
you told me this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I was a little kid, because of that, because I had this game Road Rash, and the whole soundtrack was just like Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Like Rusty Cage, the opening of the game is Rusty Cage playing.
Right.
And I've had this epiphany in recent years, because it's like I heard that, and then my dad would like make us listen to like blues, like Muddy Waters, like B.B. King. And like I've had that epiphany of like, wow, like I really was like a blues kid, like voluntarily, involuntarily, like both.
Right.
Playing the harmonica in like A Nightmare Before Christmas, like zip up hoodie.
All right,
like
now you're just smashing worlds together that
the most
don't need to be
goth kid.
smashed.
Right.
Oh my god.
Nah, that is super interesting to think about though. Like, and I only could play that game because it had an NR or not rated or whatever the fuck on the front of it. Again, with like my religious parents.
Yeah.
So that one just slipped right by them. And similarly, like in those super early years, the only glimpses that I got of like real culture and like subcultures that came through, like it was in the cracks and crevices. It was like the parents not being on watch, and like
that's so funny to me, because like my parents tried to do the same thing, but I think they waited too late in life so they couldn't really like
they tried to stop you too late.
Yeah, they couldn't rein it in anymore. And so like I remember Grand Theft Auto came out. And my dad decided early. My dad had heard about it and decided early on, like, you're not playing Grand Theft Auto. We're not doing
right.
That. And so
that was the unanimous one.
Yeah. And I had never had Grand Theft Auto at home, but I did have True Crime Streets of L.A., which is basically the same game.
Oh yeah, that is.
And they didn't clock or pick up on.
Well, it was. I remember
they didn't hear gunshots in the bedroom.
I mean, bro, I remember.
What's that? What are you playing in there?
I remember very distinctly like playing it at my dad's house, and he walked in the room. And was like,
man.
"What is this, Grand Theft Auto?" And I was like, "Nah," and he just goes, "All right," and he just walked out.
See, and want to know the difference? When my brother and I used to play Nightfire. 007 Nightfire on
GameCube. Oh my!
That one was so good.
And look, all it took was them getting mad at us one time to pull the. You're not even supposed to be playing this game.
Oh, when they would do that.
I hate that.
Yo, my dad took that game away from us, and we never fucking saw it again.
Nightfire, one of the best Bond games ever.
Never saw it again. And my brother, that was like one of the games my brother and I played more than anything else.
The multiplayer was so good on that.
That one was.
It was that,
God.
and then later on, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, damn!
That game is. Did he take that away, or would you?
No. We
Battlefront was clean.
No, see what happened with
That was a
Nightfire
great
was
game.
my dad took it away, and he hit it, and then fucking forgot where he fucking hit it. That's what happened with that one.
Man,
Yo, that's
the trauma.
trash.
And then he gaslit us, like he tried to make it like. I didn't do anything. I don't know where it is. Like it just went into a black hole, like a vortex.
Oh
like,
my god.
My dad finessed me one time. He was like, because I grew up in a house, I wasn't allowed to like watch TV or video games during the week. So it was like 2 days of the week we could do that. And then also we would like occasionally be on punishment. We couldn't do shit at all. I remember there was a week.
Did they have a name for it? In my house, it was media privileges. They'd be like, "You've lost all media privileges for a week."
Oh no!
Your parents said media?
Media privileges.
Like they're librarians.
media.
Like there's an error on your fucking Premiere.
Media. So they're like broadening the umbrella out. They're like they're like multimedia, to be clear.
Yeah, give me that Nickelodeon magazine.
Right. literally. It's literally like you're in that room just with yourself and your brain and your imagination.
Anything that's not the Bible.
Yeah.
Get
the fuck out.
And paper, and you can draw, and they let us play with like Legos, you know, and shit.
Damn,
like that.
thank God Legos didn't fall under the media category.
Right.
I think the Legos are technically a medium.
That would have been like the beginning of Old Boy, where you're in a room for 10 minutes. That would have been insane.
You just come out with a Lego axe and just.
Bro.
That's how my dad would drop it too. It was like he would savor it. He would do this with his hands and be like, "You've lost all media privileges for a week."
Oh my God! Like he's the fucking.
Fuck.
Like he's the girl from Her.
Like the Dursleys.
You are the weakest link.
Right? Yeah, literally like the Dursleys.
Like that girl at the anime convention. Hey. No, 9 yet.
Right.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to fight for the right to play M-rated games.
Authoritarianism.
Like it was gay marriage or some shit. Like it was an ongoing fight. Like I got to a point where I was like 14, and it's like, Mom, I've been looking at shit on the internet you couldn't even imagine by now. Are you kidding me?
Mom, you ever heard of rotten.com?
Yeah. You ever seen a Russian homeless dude get stabbed with a screwdriver? Mom?
Oh my God.
I don't think so. Oh, sorry.
Don't go down that.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not going to. But like, yeah, literally like at 14, like, okay, you can play M-rated games, but you can't play Grand Theft Auto 4. Like that was how fucked up it was. Like,
so 1 through 3 is clear.
I remember being a kid in fantasy. Literally, I would be like, when I'm a grown up, I'm gonna buy all the Grand Theft Auto games.
Yeah.
You know,
I think about that sometimes. I'm like, man,
I want to do that off of principle. I want to just buy the whole collection.
12-year-old me would be like crazy amazed at what I have. Like, I have a Switch and a
TV.
PS4.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Bro, I still like in my mind still not allowed to watch South Park.
That's so funny.
My dad never lifted that restriction, so I'm just like,
you were never told.
Yeah, that's the one thing in my life where like they told me a bunch of stuff. Where it was like,
South Park was another one.
Yeah, that was the one thing.
It's really one of those cultural things. As a kid, you look at it and it's like you see the biohazard sign, like
right,
because of how they fucking program
right. Sick on my balls.
It
wasn't until high school where I could.
It's got like the toxic chemical sticker.
Right. That's actually what I was picturing.
Oh yeah. Still never watched it. No, I'm kidding. I have. But the story I was gonna tell. My dad. I got Def Jam Vendetta.
Wow.
Some shit slipped through the cracks over there.
Yeah.
They weren't looking that closely.
Right. And I remember I told my dad about it, or I was talking to him about it, and I was like, yo, this game is so dope. I love this game. Redman's my favorite character. I love Redman. And my dad was like, because my brother was on punishment. I wasn't. Oh, to answer your question, we just said you were on punishment. We didn't have a name for it. But
media.
Yeah. But
I'm so happy I put that out to the world.
Yeah.
This is therapeutic for me.
Good.
Anyone else out there whose parents use that same language?
I'm sorry.
You've
media
lost all
privileges
media
is next
privilege.
level sick. Like
That's
that's clinical sounding.
insane.
All media privileges. It's like the purge.
Right.
That's like the amount of syllables in that.
Yeah.
It's like they took your passport.
Privileges.
Assuming your child knows both those words is sick.
Right. Yeah. But no, I was talking about Def Jam Vendetta, and like my dad was just like acting intrigued like you do, and he was like, oh wow, really? Oh wow, that's crazy. And my brother was on punishment, and then he finessed me so fucking bad. I was so mad. He was like, oh, that's crazy. That sounds so fun. I bet you've been tearing your brother up, huh? You've been fucking him up. You sound like you've been playing this game a lot. You've been fucking him up. And I had let him play the game even though he wasn't supposed to. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm like, he can't beat me. I can't. And he was like, oh, that's crazy. Now y'all both on punishment.
Oh my God, that's like cop tactics.
That's cop shit.
It's like, have a sip of this Diet Pepsi real quick.
Right.
Some of your DNA.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
It's entrapment. That was entrapment.
It's entrapment.
We're picking up on these authoritarian
These
through
patterns,
lines,
man.
This is why we go so hard.
Right.
It all makes sense the more you talk it out. It all makes sense.
Right. That's why if I ever get interrogated by a cop, I'm not saying shit. I'm just like,
well, and it's also
man.
why you like act out of your parents, because you don't see them as your friend or your mom. You see them as a cop. You see them as like,
yeah,
like, I don't care what I do makes you upset. You control what I do.
Right.
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 This is
touching some parts.
No. I was gonna say like I'm backtracking a little bit here, but I never played Def Jam Vendetta like that hard. I don't recall as a kid. Maybe I might have played it or seen it a time or two. But do you remember a Japanese rapper in that game named Dabo?
That might have been in Fight for New York.
That was Fight for New York?
Probably, yeah.
I know Joe Budden was in one of those games.
Dabo is a legendary Japanese MC and an acquaintance of mine. And he was in one of those games, and I didn't find that out until
that's great.
I bet it was Fight for New York, because I don't think there was...
There was a Def Jam Japan for a point in time, and he was like the first artist that they signed.
Do you know around when that was?
That's tough. I feel like it was between 2002 and 2005. It was in that window.
Okay, because I want to say Fight for New York.
I'm just gonna Google it. What am I doing?
Yeah, I want to say Fight for New York came out when I was in.
It was Def Jam Vendetta.
Was it?
Yep.
You guys remember that
then I did not
volleyball game, Dead or Alive? I think it's.
Oh
called?
yeah.
Yeah, that was a scam.
No,
it was porn.
the Oh my god.
Wow, 03.
I'm getting the fucking I'm getting an emulator ASAP.
Dabo.
Oh, see, this is why I didn't, because I thought
that's my homie. That's my homie.
Yeah.
He's like OG, like.
Because I thought everybody.
That's so hard.
Wow.
That's so hard.
Are these voice actors or really?
No, that was him. That was him.
Yo.
While Nori's playing?
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, this might be worth
I'm getting an emulator as soon as I go home. I'm downloading this as soon as I go home.
I came to party.
Check out
Yo,
Dabo Platinum Tongue
at
though. The album that he dropped like on Def Jam.
Oh,
That's
I definitely
crazy.
will. Oh,
it's got some hitters on it.
I did play Dead or Alive, by the way.
You did?
It was a fighting game. It was a fighting game before.
Right.
Yeah, that's where they invented the like titty
Jiggle
bounce.
physics.
Yeah.
That was I remember that was like a spread in Game Informer EGM.
Yeah.
Was like, look at the boobs in this game.
Yeah.
And I was in 3rd grade.
They straight up had commercials on regular TV, like, look at the titties. We got the titties to move. Not even
It is impressive. Well, on like
it's
G4, they would do like reviews of it and mention how the boobs would move in the physics.
I feel like
something impressive.
I feel like
it kind of was actually.
Yeah,
it kind of was.
I mean, it was
like it was a physics engine.
It feels like knowing what shit was like at that time. I can fully see a segment on G4 where they're like demonstrating that those physics next to a real woman, like just.
Oh yeah. Oh G4.
Just Olivia Munn, just like watching Dead or Alive right here.
That was a stretch of time where like being a nerd, it was kind of like it was like there was like a playful pervy side of it.
Yeah.
In that kind of branding culture.
Yeah, it felt like they were really trying to feed the like.
You're probably gonna massage. Everything had to come with a taste of massage.
Well, like remember when they would do
like trying to be bros. It's like trying to overcompensate.
Yeah.
Like it's like we get bullied out here, but we can emulate the bully culture in this ecosystem.
It's very interesting because like Attack of the Show, they would have like mud fights.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I mean,
like
it was like
Show-esque.
Spike TV was out at the time.
Tons of
like,
degrading shit on there.
Yeah, that was the whole like. Just the whole vibe of that era.
X-Play is like the one that just holds up perfectly though.
Yeah.
Like nothing on X-Play. I don't think. You go back, you watch X-Play. That show was phenomenal.
That's wild. They just brought back G4 TV and it's all like people I know.
It's like Kasim G and Kevin Ferreira who's like 75 years old and then like another person.
Fiona Nova is on it.
Okay. I'm not familiar with her, but
they're
I know there's like a podcast with Kasim G and Kevin Ferreira.
Oh yeah. I think they do. I think Fiona does Attack of the Show now, maybe. If I'm
all those people are like literally 50 years old. It makes me feel old because they were old back then. They were like late 20s, early 30s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow,
yeah.
Shit, man.
We'll never have that again. Like, oh, it's like fucking Comic-Con or like E3 weekend and there's live footage of like all the G4 people there and it's so exciting and fun. Like that's
there's
so
just
depressing.
So much shit. Nobody gives a shit about it.
I don't think we'll ever we'll never have like the excitement of live television truly what it used to be anymore. I don't think.
No,
because it just won't be the same. The ubiquity of the television is never going to come back.
Yeah, I'm convinced I don't think they'll ever recapture it, but I'm convinced at some point they're just going to remarket streaming as cable. Because Hulu already does that. They have live TV. They have the whole package. I'm convinced every like Netflix has to go back to that. They're already talking about putting ads on. It's like
we might, but the thing is like the devices, the context that people watch streams, the way you can pause them, all this shit. Like it'll never be that shit where it's like, oh, flip the channel, this thing's on. Like,
of course,
never ever.
That's what I'm saying. They're not
coming back.
They're not like
I don't know.
I don't think they're ever gonna recapture the same feeling, but like I think they're definitely gonna be
getting
like,
some friends together to watch something live. We'll stay.
Well, hold on. You keep saying they and there, so it's like
the DJ Khaled day we're talking.
Right. But it's like who are we talking about?
I'm talking about like
the
major
big companies,
platforms. Yeah,
big
I think they're gonna
fuck that. You know, it's like fuck whatever they're gonna try to do. I'm like, even from like the digital Zion standpoint and like specs, like this platform that you know, like myself and others are like in the super early stages of trying to like map out.
Right.
It's like I can totally see a future where there's a more decentralized, self-organized, self-curated television platform that is essentially just collating live streams and channels that people are creating themselves, or if we're able to build the technology out, they can use that you know, themselves, and then, you know, put it out in the world in a way where people can move the pieces around and then basically have their own TV,
right?
Just like they used to.
Yeah,
and I can totally see like an appeal of that. It's like the little nugget of when you see someone that you're a fan of go live on Instagram, and then you hit the button. It's like, imagine now it collates everything everywhere, and then you can just flip through. And I feel like the closest to that now is TikTok, in terms of like what TV used to be, because you're just kind of scrolling and going through, and whatever hits you, and then the algorithm curates shit for you, pulling from data and metrics and whatever. But I can see kind of drawing on that history in a way that isn't,
I think
toxic.
Programming is dope. Like having like, all right, this channel is just gonna live stream XYZ, and we're gonna program this for this block and this, like, that's dope. Like you can still do that live stream. The to your point about TikTok, like TikTok we'll never get like 06, 07 YouTube back, because it like, you gotta understand, all these things are impermanent, and there's all these different factors about technology and the timing and everything that, like, we can recreate like the kind of like, I don't know, the form of it maybe, but like the heart of it, the soul of it, what it was, the excitement of it, the newness of it, we'll never retain that for that. Yeah. That'll be its own thing and have its own, it'll be its own core memory, whatever. But TikTok is the closest thing to early YouTube that I've ever seen since, because you can go and there's a TikTok with 25 likes and it could be crazy. Like back on YouTube, you could see something with 102 views, and it would actually be like worth sharing. Right. Or it would be like, you know, like organic content from organic content creators that are blowing up organically. Yeah. TikTok has done that like early YouTube did.
Yeah. And fuck TikTok, by the way.
Of course.
Just so people, for anyone who's just tuning in and might not know.
TikTok is an absolute, I can tell you, TikTok is an absolute faceless Borg ship of an app where it is horrifying.
I would say 50% of I'm not on TikTok a lot, but 50% of my posts have been taken down for hate speech.
Oh, yeah.
For saying the N-word. Or something of that caliber.
Yeah. But when we're pointing out these objectively impressive and cool things, you know, we're really just, we're drawing on the potentialities of like humans to actually cultivate that level of connectivity.
Platforms like YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, they're all ass. They don't respect your privacy, they're riddled with ads, and they're completely silent and unreachable when you need help. Have you ever talked to somebody at YouTube? Think about that. I sure haven't. To top it all off, we don't control them at all, despite being the reason they exist.
So that's why we're partnering with a design and development agency called Sanctuary Computer to build our own cooperative alternatives that bring the best features of all those platforms together and that we can control together too.
We seriously got to have an exodus to some sort of digital Zion that we build ourselves. Somewhere where all of us can actually have a say over the technology that we're using to communicate with each other. For more on how you can support us all in getting off these shitty platforms, visit opencollective.com/digital Zion and tap in.
Just because these dystopian systems are eating themselves alive
doesn't mean they gotta take us with them.
all the dope shit we like was an accident, in my opinion. Like it is made despite the organization. It's made despite the system. Like Kingdom Hearts, for example.
I mean, like,
that's a very artistically, like, kind of, there's risks being taken there, but it just happened to be successful. I'm sure there was like a million different things that had to be fought for that game to come out. When you think about all the IPs involved, and everything about it. Like, oh, do we really want it to be this dark, or do we really want it to be this hard in this way, or whatever?
I wonder how much of it was like Disney being like, you have to use this movie, as opposed to like, you can't use this. You know?
I mean, we could get into the whole Disney fucking Dominion and like that Tarantino clip. Of like, you know, there's like at the AMC Times Square, there's 70 screenings of Doctor Strange. Which is unfathomable to me. But basically, for those that haven't seen the clip, Tarantino was gonna screen it at Cinerama, right?
And to me, Cinerama was a real big deal, you know, because I grew up in LA. You know, I grew up thinking Cinerama is just like, you know, it's this big thing, man, right? You know?
And he was gonna play Hateful Eight at Cinerama for like 2 weeks in the holiday season, which was when Force Awakens came out, and Disney was like, no, we want to play for the whole holiday season, so fuck that movie. And Cinerama was like, no, we're going to honor the contract we have with this movie to play it, because I think it's only one screen or something. And Disney goes, okay, cool, you can do that, but we're not going to let you show Star Wars at any of the ArcLight theaters that exist. And so they were like, sorry, Hateful Eight, fuck you. And it's like that strong-arming.
They absolutely fucked me. Right.
Well, Goggins, great actor, right? Tarantino driving by,
Wait, all right. So, if we're talking about Tarantino, do we want to crack open that can of worms? Do we want to do that? Do y'all have the energy for that right now?
I mean,
no. Now you're adding pressure.
Well, I don't know. It's an energy thing for me. I'm like, do I have the energy to like?
Honestly, let's save that.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot. We can get into a lot.
For people watching, just know.
We need to just we have one day and be like, all right, let's get into Tarantino and have some shit.
It's got to be the whole thing.
Like, we got to get the Howard Stern interview from 2003.
The Jamie Foxx. Press run on BET.
I still got to find him going, that's damn shame. If anyone knows the clip
we have some archiving
research
we still need to do.
Jamie Foxx setting him up. You got a little black in you, right?
Let me tell you.
Right. You got kind of a black side.
Him saying his house was like the UN or something. Did you say that shit?
Yeah.
Just save it. Just save it.
Yeah.
Save
no, that's like a
y'all
whole...
getting into the goodies.
Yeah, no.
Right.
We'll save that.
Don't Google this. Anybody watching, don't Google anything.
But no, it's crazy. The Dominion that's happening with this. I can't imagine what it was like back then. But
yeah, I don't even know, man. It's like they've been going for.
I feel like Disney might buy AMC at some point.
What were we talking about before we got?
We were talking about Doctor Strange, Raimi, Danny Elfman, Studios.
No. I'm saying just now, right before we were.
Kingdom Hearts. How like despite. the system,
I remember what I wanted to say. Yeah, I wanted to say there are some good documentaries on YouTube and I'm gonna keep doing this like I did with Silent Hill, but like there are some good video essays that get into the making of the Kingdom Hearts games, and it is kind of crazy and like and wild. The Disney element was definitely like this ambitious marketing and genius, in my opinion, you know, from a marketing standpoint, push that they made, and it was like very intentional. But I wanted to speak on that to sort of swing back to my grievances with Kingdom Hearts as it is now, which ultimately comes down to how fucked up and convoluted they've made the entire story
right.
of the game.
Yeah.
And
like,
this is coming from after the first two games, I was absolutely obsessed with the idea of there being a third like main game.
As many were.
Right.
Yeah. I remember when they announced the game at E3 and how emotional I was at that.
Yeah.
But it was still, even back then, I was still smart enough to it's funny how I wasn't smart enough to not pre-order Death Stranding, but with Kingdom Hearts, well, because it wasn't as that shit wasn't as close to me. But with Kingdom Hearts 3, I was following every little detail, every little leak, and so when the game came out, and I'm like on Reddit or whatever the fuck on Twitter, and I'm seeing the responses that other diehard. It was like when fucking Fallout
76 maybe, or
no,
Fallout
New Vegas.
No, what was it
Fallout
4?
Fallout 4, yeah,
came out.
That was the one on the PS4.
Yeah, it was like the similar thing when that came out, and then everyone's like, and then to this day, I have not played I own it, but I have not played Kingdom Hearts 3.
Wow.
And I have not played
That's
it.
insane.
I have not played it because in understanding the storyline up until the end of 2, and then seeing how 3 connects to that, and the buffer that is all the games that came in between. Yes.
Plus 10.
When it's got decimals, I'm like,
just at that juncture, that's when I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's where your journey ends.
It does feel like tarnished.
Yeah.
It does feel tarnished to me because I know, okay, the day I do want to really explore this for myself and see, that's going to take months, if not years, because of everything else that I have going on. And then when I get through it to the end, this is what it's going to represent. This is what it's going to represent. This is what it's going to be about.
Right.
It's like it was on track, and then it just, to put it very,
is there a way to
in a very crude
in a
way,
simplistic way, explain how it veered away from kind of what is it like a?
There is a way.
mean,
they introduce Roxas. They introduce all of these other characters.
Didn't they?
You know how in screenwriting and whatever, hero's journey and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck tradition. Like, let's experiment just as any other kind of progressive creator might be. Right. But this is one of those things where it's like you got too many eggs.
Yeah.
There's way too much going on. You're pivoting from, it's like now at this juncture, it's not about Sora anymore, and it's about all these other characters you've introduced, or if it is about Sora, it's by proxy another character that you've introduced through this narrative device that connects to, and the optimistic or the less cynical interpretation of it is like, it's like a part of the world building aspect of it, and you want to keep expanding the world, and you want to create more possibilities. But in terms of the core, and I'm sure there's Kingdom Hearts fans that would be rolling their eyes and like disagree with what I'm saying right now. But
I agree with you. Like, I played one of the decimal games, and I think one of the Game Boy ones, the Game Boy Advance ones, and it was like, okay, this is cool. This is like Roxas, I guess, is a cool, but
It's slow.
It's slow, and it felt like
slow too. Just from a baseline gameplay.
Yeah.
Hell.
And it felt like it was supposed to be like analogous to the original story. Like there's like a group of 3 kids who have the same like
they're right.
They have the same makeup as the original
They're
group.
just like clones of the main Kairi, Riku, and Sora, but they just it's a parallel multiverse thing that they're doing. It's like them and another whatever.
But it's also framed
the face
like
you're making. It's you see what I'm saying? It's like it never should have went there.
Right.
It never had to go there.
Yeah, it's like there's that. It's like parallel, but it's also framed because it's a separate game, or because it's an in-between game. Like it's gonna have some type of like tie-in to the main story. Never does. At least to my, I didn't play all of them, but like to my knowledge, never really like ties in all the way.
See, and then and it's one of those things where it's like they retroactively now they find ways to connect it.
Yeah.
And it becomes so convoluted because they're trying to make for consistency purposes, they're trying to make everything check out. But then you just end up with this big, complex, unappealing heap of shit.
Yeah.
And that's probably an exaggeration. I'm not gonna call the whole, Kingdom Hearts series of games a big pile of shit. Yeah. I'm not gonna go that far, but like
it's like ultimately they're fucking
it's like shitting
games.
It's like laying a big heap of shit on top of something.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's like all you had to do was keep it to these core characters, keep it to the universe that it's already a fucking universe that you created. Right. You already created. There's all these Disney worlds.
Right.
Just keep it there.
You know what's frustrating?
Just keep it there.
He fucked it up.
Yeah. You know what's fucked it up. Yeah. You know what's frustrating? They could have just fucking followed the whole story of Naruto. They could have kept doing that. Because it's the same story.
I've never watched Naruto.
It's the same story.
So Sora became the Hokage.
I mean,
as it were.
More or less. Might as well.
It's spicy too.
It's like
we'll never watch Naruto.
Bro, it's too long. I had a lot of time.
No, but I have been so turned off in 1,000,001 different ways from watching that since childhood.
Right.
Beyond the actual aesthetics. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
The aesthetics of it. But then the hardcore.
Everyone with a fucking
like fandom.
Because I'm gonna be on people's no list. Yeah. Like from this point on, I'm gonna be on so many people's no list.
Well, C doesn't like Naruto for whatever.
For one, he doesn't like Naruto, so I wouldn't actually listen to what he said.
Clearly hasn't seen Shippuden.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch Boruto. Clearly,
Boruto is trash.
The conversation we had was I was just like, yo, their fits are ugly. Maybe I had this conversation with Zach.
And Naruto?
Yes.
I don't know. Them shit's kind of hard. They got like the high
sandals.
They're wearing like Yeezys.
They're wearing sandals.
Why is that specifically a problem?
That is just so.
You're wearing sandals right now.
So you're not a follower of Christ. He wore sandals.
Okay. I don't wear them. I don't wear them publicly and in universe altering fights with the toes out with no socks on.
You didn't kick
with the regular. Wait. With regular clothes on, like otherwise, like that shit is with a headband around my head.
That's ninja shit though.
Compared to all
ninjas wear fucking shoes.
They wear socks.
All the problems that I know exist in Naruto. That's the last thing I think you would harp on. If you watched
Their fits are trash.
you'd be like,
no, that's the first thing I'm harping on. I'm like, yo,
bro,
everything looks ugly. First of all, everything looks ugly.
Bro,
it's not giving.
If you watch it, you'd be like, this shit is sexist. This shit is
the show. Actually.
Oh yeah. All the female ninjas can't do shit. Most of them. Sakura doesn't. So Sakura doesn't learn to fight till Shippuden. That's
really
after fucking 700 episodes.
700 episodes in, she can't fight.
Yeah,
she can't squabble.
Yeah, and even then, she's
teach your man to squabble.
Right?
You seen that on Twitter?
But
teach your man how to squabble. I think it's from like Snowfall or some shit.
Yeah. But like even when she learns how to fight, it's through like her medical training. She's a medic, not like a combat ninja. And it's like it's this whole
She's
like
the professional sewer of the group.
yeah, exactly. She just like
Naruto sexist.
Sakura can't fight. It's also statist. The shit is statist. Like deeply statist. Like the whole Uchiha clan they're cops.
What you're saying about
Naruto
clones?
is so tacky to me that I do not even want to be a part of a Naruto discourse.
That's fair. That's fair.
The amount of
Judge
shit
me,
that
hate
you're
me,
into
hate
that's,
me for that.
tangentially as geeky as that is hilarious.
Nah, what? I mean, like what?
I am explaining how Kingdom Hearts is the same story. So there's that.
Okay,
element.
well, yeah. Kingdom Hearts and what Star Wars? That's like the most
Like Studio Ghibli shit is
that's
Don't-
a whole different. That's a whole different
fucking dead.
world.
To be completely fair, I did watch all of Naruto, but it's really so I could understand why they're fighting. Because the fights are the dopest part.
Yeah.
It's like when Rock Lee fights, those are dope. And the way they like, you can tell some crazy shit is about to go down because they change up the whole animation budget. Like when the third Hokage dies.
Suddenly there's
like
a massive clearing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Or like
They find these massive clearings. To
right.
to fight
Suddenly
it.
they up the frame rate, all this shit. It's
all
just
them
like,
fighting that same forest though. They got to find a new forest. It's the same
There's
forest.
different forests.
You were
There's a couple
saying
other
something
forests.
about Attack of the Clones though.
No, I was gonna say your clone thing. It reminded me of the Star Wars sequel, like the 2015 sequel trilogy, because they kind of cloned the original characters to just be a different set, but then they try to tie it in with the original.
Talking about fucking up a
Right.
good thing.
Bro,
Yeah.
I gotta send it to y'all, but the video essay Tony showed me is Star Wars sequel trilogy is the anti-Star Wars trilogy. It like hates Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
and,
that.
like,
That's come up
how
in my...
Star Wars inherently is like a George Lucas vision and why the prequels were. I gotta revisit it because it was really fucking
But
good.
I already
Yeah.
have that. I already
Oh,
take
yeah.
that position.
but
I've
it
already,
just consolidates it and clarifies it so
Right.
well.
right.
Yeah, no,
Good
it's amazing how much I
gracious.
hated the prequels when I was like in high school. I was like, the prequels are trash. The originals are way better.
Yeah.
And then when you see the fucking Gen Xers who think that, what they make out of that, it's like,
Right.
oh no, that's why I love the prequels. Like,
Yeah.
it's because it is imaginative and it's not like.
We talked about this actually. I feel like
Maybe.
we were walking
did it
somewhere
Yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
talking about it.
No, that's a longer conversation, but the reason the prequels are interesting is because they do new things, they build on the story, they make new worlds, they add to it. Whereas like the sequel trilogy, it's literally all copy paste.
Yeah, it's like they're responding to the fan base. A lot of it feels like they're actively saying "fuck y'all."
The thesis is that it hates Star Wars. Those new movies,
Yeah.
it hates Star Wars.
Yeah,
They just want you to like remember things that are in it, not what makes Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
I gotta revisit because dude made very good points. But,
yeah, right.
But yeah, it's weird how we're living in a time of like total desecration of every beloved thing.
Yeah,
Everything you couldn't imagine
Yeah.
coming back and getting desecrated will, like the Ghostbusters shit.
But it
Yeah,
comes
Turtles.
back to what we were joking about, like the last episode. You know, like the market-driven like factors that go into the making of these fucking things. That we can't invest in original. Ideas. We can't.
Well, this is
We're not. It's not guaranteed money for the investors. We're not taking.
Yeah.
We're here to minimize the risk.
Hey.
right.
Okay?
Having written for the Saved by the Bell reboot, I cannot comment on this.
I was thinking that, and I was like, I wonder if he'll mention that. But like, this is the depressing realization I had when I saw Matt Reeves' The Batman.
Oh yeah.
Look at Matt Reeves' filmography. Matt Reeves is a phenomenal filmmaker. In my opinion, a phenomenal filmmaker across the board. He knows how to write. He knows how to shoot, direct. He knows how to do fucking everything. And look at what he's made.
Yeah.
3 Planet of the Apes movies, and now the best Batman movie ever. But think about it. The depressing realization I had is filmmakers that good will never get projects that are original.
Yeah.
Because they need them for the big IPs.
Right.
So you'll never actually see that guy just make a wholly original fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, and back in the day, we were able to take inspiration from pre-existing things all the way up to the point of almost plagiarism without literally being the same characters and the same IPs.
Right.
Imagine if the Batman was literally just not the Batman, but a movie of that style and vibe, but it was his own story, new characters, new everything.
It's like
That would be a once-in-a-generation film.
Right.
But inevitably, it's still fucking Batman, Penguin, fucking Catwoman, Joker.
I think it's part of it is like you have the advantage at a certain point in history. You have the advantage of like you're drawing from a completely different medium because film hadn't been around that long, so people are still reading books and shit, you know.
Right.
Whereas like now it feels like it's been out for so long where you're just watching all these movies. You're only drawing inspiration from other films.
Oh, and now books
then,
are only HBO shows or miniseries.
Yeah,
They're not
exactly.
movies anymore.
Exactly, and it's like, and exactly what you said is true. You get to be such a good director where like you just get pigeonholed into making propaganda essentially, because you have this legacy show, this legacy like property that of course you're gonna say yes to if they ask you to do it, and then you have to navigate writing for a character, directing for a character that is ultimately just pro cop.
I want to make something very clear. By the end of this process, Batman must remain a cop. That's that is all that I am stipulating here. And everything else, free reign. You can have him go away, but he has to swing back to being a cop in the end.
Yeah.
That shit really felt like a 3-hour studio note to me.
A studio note.
Oh,
note.
Right.
Oh,
because like the way they
we hypothesized that there may have been it was going to be a different film.
Yeah,
and the
like
studios,
maybe a rejection of
Yeah.
the
studios
cape.
was like
the studios came in and said,
No, do we have an understanding here that this is not the way that it's going to go?
Yeah, it was like when they're like, you know, the police force worked for me, Falcone. It was like,
Right.
no, the fucking studio works for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I mean the way they treated Thomas Wayne as an entity, the way they like tease.
I see what you're saying.
You
It
know?
was moving in that direction.
Yeah, where they're
It
so
was.
conscious of
Right.
like
Yeah,
they
it so was.
they tease him being what a billionaire really is in real life.
It makes me want to go back and watch the Apes movies because there's
Yeah.
probably some social ecology things being attempted and
Yeah.
then curbed.
Right. And
in
you know
that also.
what bothered me the most is like not even so much that they backtracked on that narrative because I knew that they were going to do that. But it's also that they backtracked.
and again, we don't know that that's what actually happened. That's super
Those
optimistic.
are just the
take.
bread.
Yeah,
that's
right.
just the breadcrumb trail you're noticing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Your father did
But-
something terrible.
Right.
The cops are corrupt. It's the system. And then the end, they're like, the cops will save the day.
Yeah.
They'll be good in the end.
Actually, 9/11 was bad.
New York tough.
Yeah, exactly.
New York tough.
No matter what those motherfuckers
The
do to
city
us,
comes together. The people,
Yeah.
and including the cops. The cops help bring the people
that's
together.
a hero, a first responder.
Oh, dude, what was
That's a
that
cop.
fucking dude's voice? When it's like, you gonna stick your neck out for this guy?
Yeah.
In the little interrogation
What was
room.
this?
You died so fucking
He's like,
hard.
punch me in the balls, Batman, and you'll be able to stop.
Oh,
Wright.
he was like the police.
Yeah, the
chief
cop that was
guy. I
like-
can't remember his voice.
Yeah, or
It was super exaggerated
Yeah.
though. It was like, I'm gonna get a fucking bug with you.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
he
You're
had like
gonna let him step on his crime scene.
we
You're
had
gonna
like
let this whop in here? What is
he had like this smoky quality to it where he had like pneumonia or some shit. He's like, you gonna stick your neck out for this guy?
It was like
Oh, someone
it was
did a
really
TikTok of that,
raspy.
making fun of him.
Yeah.
You're gonna let this guy walk on this.
You're gonna
Right.
let this fucking lawyer
The guy who
in
looked like
here.
he was beating up people in Times Square in the 70s. But that guy was born in 1979 probably.
Right. Bro.
That actor looked crazy.
I respect him for like at least subtly acknowledging that. I guess not even
Yeah.
subtly. They made some humor out of that at the
Right.
top of the film. Like he just walks in and all the cops are like, what
Oh,
the
that was so
fuck?
fucking funny to me.
Like they're like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
yeah,
No,
when
that
they're
was,
like,
that's when I knew it was going to be like
Yeah.
good. Is when they were
Yeah.
like,
Give it some realism.
right.
Fucking wacko bad.
Right. right.
if you don't have someone saying that he's a wacko in a superhero
Right.
movie,
Look at this
Right.
fucking
look at this
nut
fucking
job.
wacko spider flying around. You know, you
Right.
gotta have
Right.
somebody. saying
Right.
that. Jim Norton being
Like,
like, I
who the
don't like him. He stinks.
Who the fuck is this guy? Some kind of Batman or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Jim Norton and Donnell Rawlings. Is it Rawlings?
Rawlings.
Oh, yeah,
Rawlings.
yeah.
Rawlings. Yeah. Yeah.
Was Chappelle
eight-legged
still?
freak. Or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah.
Shit like that in the
Yeah.
Raimi one.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, but
That's in his highlight reel. I feel like
Oh,
that's
Jim
it.
Norton? I
Yeah.
feel
No,
Donnell.
Rawlings.
Donnell.
Oh,
He's
gotcha.
like, I was in Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. But yo, the shit that bothered me was like when they backtracked the Thomas Wayne narrative, they came back and were like, no, actually he's a good man. He just asked Carmine Falcone for a favor and he didn't know it was gonna go that far. And they entirely whitewash the fact that the dude still went to a fucking mob boss to silence a journalist.
Yeah.
You're
To protect
ignoring
his wife.
right.
The last they didn't want her to know she was a whack job.
That was kind of a stretch a little
Dude, the
bit.
last third of that movie is like
I know a little bit about political corruption. Like that was kind of out there.
Yeah.
That was
no,
wild.
the last third of that movie is like and then I'm gonna flood Gotham, I guess. It's like, you know, it was like what?
Right.
It was like, yeah.
I've got to save this woman who got shot in the belly and is waiting in 6 feet of water. She's definitely going to survive with my help.
Oh, and I remember us talking about the fucking the weird. He's hanging from the wire.
Yeah, this whole like baptism by like,
and then he like cuts it and then falls into the water.
right.
So weird.
It was so very
What
weird.
is,
Like,
I didn't get at all is like, the part of my critique was the Riddler goons. Like even the Joker and the Nolan one, they all had like different masks and suits. It was like kind of ragtag. You're telling me everybody's got the same color and outfit and glasses and mask and everything, and they all have assault rifle? Like it was just like,
Yeah.
there was 30 of
think
them.
about why they would do that.
I mean,
Think about why they would do that. Right. And that gets into the point I was gonna make, which was some fucking anti-anarchist propaganda.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
Because who else does that? The black bloc, they're all wearing the same black whatever.
Yo, Antifa.
But
and they're trying to, and it's broader than that. Like they're trying, it's like, oh, extremism. That's
Right.
the real sort of like context. It's like Batman is like, it's almost like a left liberally vibe. It's like the guy that believes in the state and believes in
the real rebel.
Yeah, believes in the patriot, right? The colonial project.
I'm the last real patriot.
And they're trying to convince you that the foot soldiers of the fucked colonial project will do the right thing in the end and live up to the ideals of the colonial project.
Right.
And all of that.
And it's such a choice they made because it's fucking year 2 of Batman. It's early and he's a young Batman and he does not have a good relationship with the police at that point.
No.
So it's like, it would have been so easy to just play up that part and just say like Gordon's the only one that fucks with him. And like that's still he's still willing to work with the cops in that way, obviously, but like
it's what I said. It's you have to kill Batman to redeem Batman.
Yes.
That's the only way. That's the only way for anyone who has a rational, logical mind looking at the world and society. Batman has to die.
Yes.
And that has to become someone else that rejects the whole thing.
That's what pissed me off about Dark. We've probably talked about this, but Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
He fucking carries that nuke on like a ball sack string into the middle of like the ocean, and then a nuke goes off, and you think Batman's dead, and then Alfred's in fucking. I swear we already talked about this, but Alfred's in fucking Italy, and he's like, "Ciao, Alfred." Like
to be clear and explicit though, when I say Batman has to die, I'm talking about the archetype, the character, even the values. It has to die.
Yeah.
Because Batman is inherently anti people.
Yeah.
He is inherently that.
He hates everyone in that.
Right. I
So
mean,
you Batman has to be reincarnated as a class traitor, essentially. He has to die and then rise from the ashes as a class traitor.
Yeah.
You're not in bed with the state. You're not in bed with billionaires or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
all this fucking I guess vigilante.
There is that.
It's a right wing libertarian thing.
Like when the guys are like, "What's the difference between you and me?" And he's like, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." He's basically saying,
"Oh yeah, I can afford.
I'm rich as fuck." And like that's the thesis is like, okay, the Riddler, those are the right wing extremists, those are the bad vigilantes, but Batman's the good guy because he's the smart rich guy.
Yeah,
and so he knows he's smart and capable, and he's the right guy to make these decisions and to make.
That's why he was smart. That's why I used that right wing libertarian. Framing.
I was smart enough to be born rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like he's a variation of like Iron Man, you know, of Stark.
Right.
Billionaires don't hoard their wealth.
Well, it's like
billionaires don't hoard their wealth. I'm Australian, beat me.
Well, we talked about this before. Is like this. We live in an area of like that's our myth. That's our national myth. Is these fucking superhero stories. We live in an era of proprietary myths.
Right.
It's like Marvel is Rome, DC is Greece, you know? And like so they've got their versions of the same character, Iron Man and Batman, but like the only way you can really penetrate and change these narratives is by owning the IP. You know what I'm saying? Like I wrote a Batman, the best I could do is stay away from any mention of his wealth, anything like that, and interrogate his psychology, you know? It's like if you really like want to be true to the character within the framework, then you gotta like do this pro cop shit, this fucking pro.
He's inherently
and this paternalistic shit of just like
I am the knight, I'm the hero that we
and like
it's like a fun idea. Like imagine if one person could just save a city.
And
nice,
that's the problem.
cool,
with
fun.
That's the problem with a lot of this shit is like watching the films. It's like you have to navigate this like. Yeah, I guess if this was happening, then I would want somebody to stop it. I get like, what if this really like? How do I navigate that outside of this framework?
And this is
AOC
why
coded shit in that. And
this is why Chad Kroger's "Hero" is such an amazing song because it is a song about going against the cult of personality. And believing that a leader is going to come and save you. You have to save yourself. Don't stand there and wait. Don't stand there and wait.
Right.
No, but all jokes aside.
Oh, that wasn't a joke. That was not a joke.
But that aside, like it does get to the root of the conversation of like what a superhero is and like represents and questioning the most that you can do by exploring the story at the level of the individual trying to do good in the world, who's doing all of these fantastical kind of feats, accomplishing all these fantastical feats to save other individual people and do things like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny, I started watching Hancock on the way home. Yeah. Like, speaking of superhero movies. That movie's very interesting. I'd be interested to see what kind of video essays people could make about that.
But it gets into that conversation we were having about like, and not to get into all the details of it, but like, you know, how could you do that though? Like, how could you start through the story of one and then ultimately get to the collective, to the structural, to the systemic? And I feel like if all of us dug, I mean, shit, even like there are some popular, like I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings, strangely enough, right now. Even though it is more centered on individuals, but it does give you that sense of it
affects all of us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's like, it's racist, but you know, it's like different peoples, right? Like these different peoples. There's represent delegates from all these different groups that are coming together, and then they're having to forge all of these alliances to counter this thing. But it doesn't get to the, you know, it doesn't obviously get to the granular. You can only go so far into the social relations and organization and all that kind of shit without it.
But it does. It is really a movie about a cross-racial alliance that like it is one person's one act that ends the shit, but in order to do that, they all have to stand up at the same time and make a big distraction. During return.
And they're all saving each other's asses, no matter even if someone's more powerful than someone else.
Right.
You're seeing that I'm not specialized here. I'm not whatever.
Right.
And
it's
someone
like
gonna kill all.
everybody's talents feed into it somehow.
Right.
And my axe.
And my axe. Yeah,
but like broadening it, like the collective mindset, like that's that's the shit.
And I feel like to be able to do that, you just gotta. I mean, I feel like there's already such a strong fan fiction culture, and I feel like you got to be a part of that to really get to the meat of. Especially a character like Batman, you just gotta. I mean, there are people that are capable of like writing and producing a comic themselves. You just gotta take the initiative and do it outside of that framework, because there's always going to be that element of like, okay, so how does Batman save the day, or how does he come back?
Like that Invincible show, because it's kind of about how fucked up superheroes are.
Yeah, or the Boys or Watchmen, any of those,
Yeah, I mean it's no accident. Those all kind of rule.
Yeah, and like Watchmen especially is like there are such clear parallels to heroes that already exist or are famous, So like. I don't know. It's like I think it helps to be able to draw those parallels and say like, this is Batman, but it's not Batman.
Yeah.
Look at how fucked up he is.
Yeah.
But it's not Batman, so we're not doing anything
killing
bad.
We're cows, but you're making a point.
Yeah, like this is not libel. This is not like whatever copyright infringement. But your character is bad, and this is why.
Right.
And you got to really be able to show, and that's I think one of the biggest issues with that is like. You always have to make Batman the protagonist. Like just the simple flip of like centering a different character, like write a comic from the perspective of Joker. And I'm sure I'm saying this as I'm saying it. I'm sure it's been done, but just like
I'm sure there's many.
I'm sure there's so many
loose leaf notebooks full of those stories.
right.
Me and the Joker.
Rule 34 Joker.
yeah.
That gun that has bang coming out of it.
Right. Right.
You want to know how I got this ass? I got this stick.
You know what? But yeah, it's like you really just gotta like, I don't know, just reframe the perspective. That's all it takes. Is like you could even have the exact same story. You could have Matt Reeves' Batman beat for beat be the same story, and literally just add like one other person's perspective, and just somebody in a window being like, "Did y'all see that? That was fucked up, right?
Yeah,
that sucked, right?"
That movie really was like almost perfect until like the last 30 minutes or something. Like that was the only thing that kept me. Like it was phenomenal overall, but like, you could just tell like. You don't really quite have a way to wrap this up that makes sense.
Right. I mean, but that's even more impressive for like Matt Reeves to have made a better movie than most people will ever make in their career, and then also make as much of a bad movie as most of those people will make in their career.
Right.
You know?
At the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's really impressive.
It is. I also just like how he shoots stuff with the shallow focus and the rack focuses and shit. It's just so fucking.
And every shot is so fucking dirty. Like I don't think there's a clear shot in the movie. You know, just it's so fucking cool to be able to like focus with that much like noise in every shot. It's so dope.
It's so funny what happened to Zoe Kravitz with her reaction to the slap. Everyone was gushing over her, and then she made an Oscars.
Oh
take.
Yeah. Then everybody pulls up the Jaden Smith
If I was
stuff.
in a fucking movie, I would just shut the fuck up. I've made it. I'm a Hollywood actor. Just shut up.
I mean, I'm agreeing with you while also fully being on TV and being like, fuck all of this.
Yeah, it's true, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I rewatched Roger Rabbit this week.
Tell us about that. When was the last watch?
The last time was truly when I was a kid. It's been years and years. And I feel like just like visually it's dope, but like themes strike me more than visuals. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that movie is such a strong political commentary that people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
'Cause like, have you seen it recently?
Last couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
I only saw it for the first time in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
it's about like segregation and shit.
It's about segregation, but
Yeah.
it's also about like because it's like tunes are working in. They're all entertainers. They're all like doing all this shit, and they're clearly analogous to black people. It's like visible. Like there's like in the wiki, it's like some people are upset. No, that's what it is. I love that. I love that about like film analysis where people are just like they
white film analysis.
Yeah, right. Or they look at something that's obvious and they're just like, oh, this might be a allegory for the civil rights. That's exactly what the fuck it is. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
But like, they're clearly black people, and
some have argued.
Some have argued.
One could imply
that this might be.
One could speculate that this
that the Gungans.
Some have speculated that the character Professor X is actually Malcolm X. He's like, no, he's MLK. Shut up. But
really,
Magneto is
Malcolm X. Magneto is Malcolm X.
You didn't know this?
No. What?
Oh yeah, that's what inspired X-Men.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never been an X-Men.
An X guy.
Yeah.
That's the most that I know.
Yeah.
And then Lil B rapping over that.
Right. I mean, I grew up on the cartoon, so I'm like, I love X-Men, but I'm also not as deep in it as like as some people. But like,
and then someone from X-Men was in one of the PS1 Spider-Man games. The blue it wasn't Wolverine, was it? Big and blue.
Beast?
Oh wait,
maybe it was Beast.
Wait, what, the GameCube Spider-Man?
No. This is PlayStation 1. It was Electro. Was it? Damn, I just gotta Google it.
Damn, I mean, because there's a lot of crossover. I know Wolverine has showed up in Spider-Man before. But anyway, while you're looking for it, the whole thing is like they Marvin Acme or whatever his first name is gets murdered. Roger Rabbit gets framed for it, and then Judge Doom is trying to use his death because he's the only shareholder in this company to buy Toontown and smash and like demolish it to build a highway.
Humans are so funny. That's just like one of those when you zoom out and think about it, like the layers of Toontown. How funny that is. Just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like needing to use cartoons to make that point.
Right. That's always been my problem with X-Men is like, just use black people. Mm-hmm. Just show black people or show queer people because it's also that.
Well, it was the 60s, so they probably thought that was just... That
they
radical literature.
Well, they've literally said...
Enter Electro is the game.
Oh, yeah.
Enter Electro?
Yeah. That's another one of the first games I played.
But they did literally say, like, we thought this would help people relate to the struggles of African Americans.
The Roger Rabbit?
No, the X-Men.
Oh.
And it was Beast, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all white.
Yeah. There's a few black X-Men. Actually, there are more blue X-Men than black X-Men, which is wild.
What's her name?
Mystique, Beast, Apocalypse, Nightcrawler.
Latest.
What is this?
This is the latest Beast.
I meant to drop that, and I accidentally.
I'm really trying to be built like that.
Oh my god.
Are you sure about that?
Just
man.
knees at your chest.
I'll never be able to take another flight ever again, being that wide. But man, having that rhombus shaped head, that's crazy.
Oh man.
Now I gotta reckon.
477.
Now I gotta reckon with this shit.
Oh my god.
Latest. Bro. This is the latest Beast.
That's just gonna be up there the rest of the shit.
Oh my god.
I wish my job was just looking at photos like that.
Oh my god.
I gotta go to the office and look at some 477 PX Beast photos from a PSX game.
I'm like I don't know. I feel like a librarian or some academic researcher.
I feel like there are jobs that are as useful as someone sitting at a computer and just clicking through JPEGs.
just
Oh,
keep
there's
looking
so
at
many. I'm sure.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen that Celery Man bit with Paul Rudd?
Yeah, of
Celery.
course.
Computer
Now Tane I can get into.
Now, Tane I can get into. That I wish my job was whatever Paul Rudd's job in that show is, just looking at stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted my job to just be looking at stuff. Pull up a picture of Beast from the PS section.
Enter Electro, Spider-Man 2.
Hey Jamie,
Pull
could you?
up the latest photographs of Beast.
Hey Jamie,
like
could
to
you?
look at them.
Jamie, could you pull up Beast from X-Men real
Hold
quick?
on, what's wrong?
Hey,
Jamie, how
could you
much do
do
those
it?
Buster Swords go for? How much? They gotta be thousands of dollars.
He'll literally
who makes
talk
those?
like that.
Yamaha?
He'll literally
Yamaha?
talk like that about
Right.
the dumbest shit.
Dude, I saw some clip. I think maybe did I send it to you or something?
Yeah.
Where it was like, yeah, it's crazy. You ever look at a pug and like they're genetically the same as wolves? And he's like,
Oh
he's like,
yeah.
He's like, that's the same thing as, male feminists, how they're descended from Vikings. And then like, what's the guy's name? Tom Pappas or whatever.
No, Giannis
Giannis
Pappas.
Pappas is like, oh my god, that's such a good point.
It is like that.
Like,
oh my, like,
It's like, bro got a pea brain.
yeah.
Beta men are
Hold up that
descendants-
Looney Tunes X-ray. You got like a
Right.
little peanut-sized brain.
Beta men
Hey.
are the descendants of Zeus.
Yeah.
Right.
Vikings, who are people we want to emulate.
Hey,
Right.
hey, Jamie, do you think Sephiroth could beat Wolverine in a fight?
There's honestly
like,
nothing more like nerdy than being a fascist who like wants to be Roman or Viking.
Oh,
or,
my
Western,
God,
just
yeah.
Western
Nordic
archetype.
shit.
like the Nazis were doing that bad. They were doing
Yeah.
LARPing, role-playing, cosplaying shit.
Right.
Like all the graphic design.
Who's all
and-
these beautiful white people, y'all?
It's like gay fascism. It's like
Yeah.
Right.
it's just like it's like, yeah, you're going to be built beautiful. You're going to be buff and white and perfect and Aryan. Viking, and like the people back then would slice your fucking head off. Vikings would fuck your face up.
Oh
Right.
God, do you know who this is? What you just did reminds me of. Oh, you've seen Year One, right?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
You already know where.
Oh,
you know where
fucking
this is going?
There's like
rub me
oil
with,
boy.
rub me with the oil.
You there, golden boy? Come here.
Rub me with oil.
Rub me with oil. All right, hold on.
Rub
I'm
me
gonna
with
try and
oil.
get this.
Hey, wench, I thought I told you to fetch some more wine.
I have no idea what's going on.
Is that enough?
Much more. Much more.
Bronze bitchlet.
Yeah, okay. We got the whole thing on you now.
Marvelous, I love it.
His fucking
I can
feet.
help you out.
Music in the background. Is this Nicki Minaj?
I have no
Hand?
idea.
No, with your nutsack. Of course, with your hand. Oh, yeah.
And he goes,
Oh, yeah, you oily, oily, that's the musky precious. Smoky, oily, oily, that's right.
Oh my.
This is like 2000.
That's right,
Right.
take me down the smoky Euphrates. Yes, do something you'll be ashamed of later, you naughty little goat. Will I charm the snake?
Ema, hey,
all right, now charm the snake.
Oh my God.
Rub me with oil or die.
Rub me with oil or die.
Are y'all hungry at all by chance? Sorry, you wrote.
I want to finish this Roger Rabbit theory, and then
Get on,
yes,
yeah.
and then yes.
Get going.
So the story is if when Marvin Acme dies, they've lost his will, and so they're trying to find his will. Then turns out Judge Doom is like,
All right, he's the owner of Acme.
Yes,
Gotcha.
he's the owner of Acme and also the owner of Toontown, and Judge Doom is trying to like use the absence of a will to use his shares in the company that owns Toontown to demolish it and build a highway over it. Very like LA history shit. That's exactly what they did. That's what Highway 10 is, I believe. That's what split South Central away from LA. And there's this whole narrative of like LA's got the best public transportation in the city, which is obviously
I took their
true.
train when I was there.
Trash, and like police, they hate poor people so much to the point where like they'll check your card if you get on the train and just to make sure you swiped it, Whereas in New York, if you're on the train, you're on the train. Fuck it. But like, Judge Doom's trying to demolish Toontown, build a highway over it. And then when you get to the end of the movie, obviously they defeat him. Turns out he's a Toon. They melt him with
spoiling Who Framed Roger Rabbit for potentially
Wow,
it's been
wow. Go
Didn't
ahead.
even give a spoiler alert.
Look, I'm so sorry.
We'll do that in
I'm
post.
so sorry. It's been we just put a little alert.
Spoilers. A Toontown spoiler.
But when they get rid of him, they find his will. It turns out in his will he is deemed that Toontown will go to the Toons. The Toons get to own Toontown for themselves. Wow. So Roger Rabbit, fucking Robert Zemeckis.
Is it that, or is it a form of Toon nationalism?
I mean,
where the Toons have a bourgeoisie that rules over the rest of the Toons and simultaneously acts on behalf of supposedly on behalf of the wills of the poor and working class Toons. Is that the scenario?
It's a wide open ending. Who knows? Who knows what they do with Toontown? But you know, it could be interpreted as a story about. It could be interpreted that Robert Zemeckis wrote a film about black autonomy.
Well, it would technically be a film about black self-determination.
Self-determination, yes.
But not getting into the social organization that defines Toontown.
Not getting into the social organization that defines
Next on Disney
Toontown.
Channel, we're going to be unpacking black autonomy.
Yeah, exactly. Black Toontonomy.
Exactly.
So funny.
Yeah, that gets into some interesting.
All right, surfers.
It really does, man.
I love that they would have motherfuckers on set for some new Disney shit coming out, and you getting like exclusive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Movie surfers, man.
Movie surfers.
They had a whole set, a whole studio.
Mm-hmm. That was FX DVD on TV before
They're
DVD
like,
on TV.
We're going to take 15 minutes between these two 15-minute commercial breaks to explain how they made Wolverine's claws work on FX.
Oh, yeah.
Like watching Wolverine Origins on TV.
Bro, they
really? I have vague memory of that. Now
They-
that you bring it
DVD
up.
on TV. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. They played
DVD on TV.
They played X-Men and Ice Age 2 almost exclusively.
Oh, yeah. X-Men Origins Wolverine they played, and it would take 4 hours to get through because they would have 20 minutes of DVD featurettes spliced in between 3 hours of commercials.
Right.
And which channel? There was one channel that would play Saving Private Ryan all the time.
Like
Was
TNT or like
TNT and
AMC.
Yeah.
I love Saving Private Ryan. I got flamed in high school because I said that was the greatest war movie of all time.
What? That's not even a fucking...
Oh, because I was in a class full of insufferable hipsters that like loved Woody Allen, and they clowned me for not liking Woody Allen. I'm like, why would I want to watch a movie about some fucking nerd? Like,
this is in high school?
Yeah, like you've never seen Manhattan? I'm like, no, I'm not.
You were in a weird ass high school.
That's
It's in an all boys
talking about-
Catholic private
Hold
school.
up.
but-
You talking about?
you
talking about
we had a mass, right? And then the homily or the end of the mass, someone gave a talk, and they played a clip from the end of Saving Private Ryan, and they made some. And my dad and I love that movie. That's my dad's favorite, one of my dad's favorite movies. We think that's the greatest war movie of all time. And I said that, and my teacher was like, "Oh, really? You really think that? Really? You think that?" And the whole class, it was like one of those things where everyone ganged up on me. The whole class with the teacher ganged up on me. And
Do
I
you
was
know
like
anything?
a
Do you know
little
anything about U.S. imperialism and empire? Colin?
Right. Because I wasn't woke enough at that time. And they were like,
if your teacher was on that wave, I'm with them.
it was probably on some snobbery shit.
It was probably on some
of
snob,
like really
file
Apocalypse
shit.
Now's not better.
Right.
For
Yeah,
Woody Allen.
but that's where the cinephile snobbery
right.
and the politics kind of collide.
Well, and I was on probably a more liberal time because I was coming
You just
not
love
politically.
Mel Gibson's The Patriot.
not
even
for
like-
not for like a political way, but like I was in almost like an artistically liberal mindset. I was like, well, it's the most historically accurate and technically and blah, blah,
Right.
blah, and
Oh, yeah.
Spielberg and all this
Yeah.
stuff. I still stand that that's like the most impressive
as a
technically
just as a film. Yeah.
war movie of all time. But yeah, I got clowned for that. I said, okay, it's one of the best war movies of all time. They're like, one of, like they all jumped on my ass because I qualified, and it was.
And then push Woody Allen, the dude from Ants.
Yeah.
Is he in anything else?
I'll give it to him. It was a funny bit. We'd watch any movie. Like, it'd be like Do the Right Thing or something. At the end of it, someone would go, that's the greatest war movie. And I was like, that's funny. I'm not going to lie. That's a funny thing to say in the silence of the credits every time.
Yeah.
It was a good bit.
Wow.
But yeah. No. All those kids loved like Woody Allen and shit like that. But
Do the Right Thing, man.
Oh, we watched that in film class in high school. And it blew my fucking mind.
I watched it a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Watch it, yeah.
That's Spike Lee never had to make another movie ever again. He would have still been considered one of the greatest.
It's Malcolm X.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
you've never seen?
No.
Oh my god, man!
I just know that
I'm not. Yeah. Spike Lee annoys the shit out of me, but like that is just. You've literally never. This is so cliche, but it's like you've never seen a film like that.
Yeah,
ever. I'm just saying, even from a purely technical standpoint,
right?
From the editing, the cinematography, the music, and the way that it all flows, you've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I gotta peep that one.
Right.
And the ending. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh really?
It's. Even with our values and our views and our perspectives, our philosophy, it like hits the note, just like as best as you could on Malcolm X,
right?
Specifically for our, I'm not to spoil anything, but just from our, when you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean and why I'm saying that.
Right.
I saw a clip of him talking to two guys interviewing him. They asked him what he thought of what's that movie, The Green something or
Green Book.
Yeah. And they're like, what did you think? And he goes, Are you British? I'll give you a British answer. Wasn't my cup of tea. And he just like
Spike Lee.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't go, it's coonery buffoonery. That's what I thought about it. It was coonery buffoonery.
Some rhyme.
He yelled at me one time.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I was an extra on She's Gotta Have It, and I didn't ride a bike the way he wanted me to.
What?
That's it.
Like
it was like,
were you going like this, like George Grant style? Like
no, it was some wild shit. It was like, first of all, it was like fully just an extra scene. I didn't think he was even there. I had no fucking idea. But like he had ADs and PAs all trying to direct me and telling me different shit. And so like they were just like, okay, so just start riding the bike when the scene starts. And I was like, okay, I can do that. That's fine. Or just like ride the bike through the scene. And I was like, all right.
You're like, I know how to do that.
Yeah. I've done it before. I've done it many times.
I've ridden a bike.
Yeah. And after the first take, they were like, oh, that wasn't right. And I'm like, how? What do you mean?
What way do you ride a
What way do you ride a bike?
It's
it was like
one way to do it.
They were like, well, the pace doesn't really match what we're trying to do. You just gotta like.
What are you Lance Armstrong? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, kid?
Yeah, it was like you just gotta go, just kind of, just go through the scene and just keep going. And then I did that, and they were just like, no, could you slow it down a little bit? You're going too fast now. You're going too fast. And then I was like, all right, and I just kind of did one where I'm just kind of hovering on the. This is what fucked them up is like they were like, ride the bike through the scene, observe what's going on a little bit, and then just keep going. And so I was like, okay, y'all want me to slow down and stop? And they did a take. They were like, no, don't slow down. Just keep going, but observe the scene. But don't slow down, but keep the same pace. And then they did a take where they were just like, okay, so we'll push start you. We're going to push start you. And they just kept pushing me into the scene. And just like, what if I just start biking from back there and you just see me in motion? And then finally, after like 10 takes of this, Spike Lee comes out and and I see him walking. I'm just like, I didn't know he was fucking there. And I was just like, hey, man, is everything all good? And he goes, no, it's not all good. And just starts like chewing me out over like, you got to ride it this way. This is not how we do things. I'm just like, yo, man.
This is not how we ride bikes.
This is not how we ride bikes in Brooklyn.
Coonery buffoonery, by the way, is a direct quote from him on Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can look this up. Anyone can look this up.
Yeah.
Coonery buffoonery. That's how that's how he writes off Tyler Perry.
You know it's wild. It's now that we're
courtside at the Knicks game. It's just like coonery buffoonery.
You know what's wild is now that we're talking about Spike Lee, I'm just realizing this jacket I think is like a set gift from Mo Better Blues. It says fucking, where is it? On one of those pockets. Oh, there's Mo Better right here.
Wow.
It has this. I bought it because it's my dad's name, James.
Whoa.
And then I didn't realize.
Your dad's name is James Bond?
Yes, my dad's name is James Bond. But I didn't realize till like months later that it was from this movie. And
He Got Game is another one.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He Got Game.
Yeah.
I gotta dive into his filmog.
My favorite ones are the ones people don't name drop.
Yeah.
Black Klansman was actually really good, and the ending of it was highly effective, I thought. Like, it goes...
Isn't that propaganda?
That's a good question.
But like a little bit.
The point of the end is...
I read some kind of scathing...
Well,
that's it. Well...
critiques, I'm saying.
I'm sure there's probably...
My issue with a lot of Spike Lee stuff is like, I don't know. That's why I brought up fucking...
Tupac didn't fuck with Spike Lee, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No. I mean, that's part of why I brought up... now I can't even remember the fucking name. Do the Right Thing. Mm-hmm. Because so many of his movies, you're like, I don't know what message you're trying to send. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of portraying things, and it's all shot very well. He's a great director. He's amazing. Mm-hmm. But then, like, do the right thing, kind of, you're just like, what is this? What perspective are you drawing from?
I don't think it's one of those films from my memory, though. It feels like it feels like he's trying to give you a slice of life and all the tensions that come with it, but not point you in any kind of resolve.
Well, that's why I say that, because it doesn't. But then at the end, he has like a little message, like he does with Black Klansman, where it's kind of pushing this like, as opposed to like what it could have been, which is like sort of a more radical message. It's just kind of preaching this like kind of nonviolence thing, just like sort of shallow nonviolence.
Yeah, he's a liberal.
Yeah,
he's a fucking liberal.
Which is like, just
he's a fucking liberal.
You know.
But that's what you're gonna get. They're never gonna tie. They're never gonna tie the loose ends up. They're never gonna have a very clear. And if they have a sense of direction or a point that they're trying to make, it's not gonna hit the mark usually on some kind of transcendent point.
Right. I feel like you can just draw what you want from his films and just ignore what he's trying to say.
The thing I was gonna say about Black Klansman that was so effective is that it's a period piece that brings you to modern day at the end. Like, it shows modern footage, and it's from 2018, and there was shit about the fucking Charlottesville incident attack, and it's like it was like this thing where you've sat through a movie that depicts racism as like a period thing, like it's back in the 70s the Klan was huge, and it's like, no, we're gonna pop your little dream bubble right at the end to show you that, like, remember, this is shit happening right now. The president you're living under right now is leading this shit. That I thought was like really, as a filmmaker, very artistically, like, bold. Yeah, I thought. But in terms of the overall message, does it have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of.
I'm also personally okay with posing questions you don't have answers for, but
me too.
Something.
I think Miyazaki does that all the time.
Sometimes the best films, frankly, are ones that are just like, I don't really know, but this is real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Miyazaki does that all the time. Like Princess Mononoke ends where they're like, spoiler alert again. It ends where they're like, he reconciles with Lady Eboshi, and they're just like, let's build a new Irontown that's better, that's builds on what we learned in the movie. And you're kind of like, if you haven't really read any of not the source material, but like the things he's drawing from, then you have no idea what they're gonna build, or even why Lady Eboshi is worth reconciling. You know, like she comes off as like an evil character to a degree. It's more nuanced.
She seems like the antagonist.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot more nuanced in that, and it's not like so black and white, but it's like there is definitely an argument to be made for like, no, she sucks. What are you doing? But it doesn't end that way. So I'm fine with a movie not being so like clear cut. It's just like when you have the whole film be that way, and then you try to tie up the loose ends in the last act. Not even the last act, but the last, like, in the credits, really, because what you're talking about happens kind of in the credits.
It does, yeah.
It just feels sloppy and half-assed.
Yeah.
If you have a grasp of like kind of what's going on in a broader and deeper sense, you know?
Yeah, right. And it feels like if that's what the movie is going to be, then let it be the whole movie. But like, I thought this was like a comedy about how stupid the Klan is, which propaganda disregarding was like, that's funny.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a little bit of a liberal sprinkling there, where it's like, well, you know, there could be some good cops. Like there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy though that Spike Lee got mad at you for not writing. I mean, it's just funny how you the subject line of the story is like completely accurate.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, no, he literally just got pissed because you weren't riding a bike the right way, apparently.
Yep. There's no embellishment necessary. I don't even know if I could embellish it if I wanted to.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I want a famous director to yell at me.
Actually, you know what? A detail I left out. It was the day before Trump got elected.
That was the day before.
Actually, it was the same day. It was the day Trump got elected.
The day?
Yeah.
I remember that day. I remember that day thinking, I'm going to get drafted into a war. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Which is revealing that that's my first thought. But yeah.
Damn.
I was a wage slave in Japan at the time. And everyone fucking was crying.
Really? Yeah, I mean,
like people, I'm saying like Japanese people, where it was just like this, it was like this, like really? No, yeah, because people have this idea of America, and it was just like the illusion was just completely blown.
Right.
Oh my god! It's purely optics. It's purely aesthetics, but it was like powerful.
Whereas
enough.
us, we're just like. Great. Jerk off in office.
I mean, it was
deeper than that.
But people were flipping the fuck out. People, it was crazy out here when that happened.
Right.
But it was funny. It was funny though to have that perspective though of like seeing like how people view this fucked up project. I mean, there's a lot of nationalism out there, as y'all already know. Yeah, so it's not that crazy, but
like I have a Nigerian family that were like, they were so shocked because they don't believe America is like as fucked up as it is. Yeah. It's so like
it is though.
I was just like, finally there is a emblematic. He actually symbolizes what this fucking dump is.
Yeah,
you know, like all the way through, like. To the aesthetics, to the everything, sitting there eating McDonald's, like yes, that is what this project is. He is fully represent for anyone out there, for liberals, neoliberals who believe in U.S. government and like saving America, saving quote unquote democracy, like. Trump is the actual representation of what that is. Yeah. And it gets into that thing of like let go of trying to associate the best of the people that are in North America with America. Let go of that. Yeah. Let go of that. Stop in your rhetoric like leading people to like keep playing into those ideas of like America is the people that make it. It's like, no, that's not what America is. It's not what America is.
You know? Yeah, bro, I've been I've been trying to work this out on stage, but like I'm so tired. Like being an immigrant, I'm so tired of people using that experience to try to make me love America. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're an immigrant?
I mean, I come from an immigrant family. I mean, like my mom.
Okay.
My mom is.
My
mom is an immigrant, and so like, well, people try to use that as like you're the child of immigrants. They work so hard to get to where they are, to give you the life that you want, and like,
I love the ones of like. They're pointing at you like coming from an immigrant family, and they're like, "Oh, you think they could have done that somewhere else?"
Right.
You think another country could have afforded to do what this one did for your family? Oh, that's interesting.
Huh. Okay.
It's so funny, like it's the best version of a piece of shit model.
Right. Right.
It's like it's the best.
Right. Right. And you're just like, they had to work so fucking hard to get here. Yeah, because
You go into another country, see if you can walk around and do that. Okay.
It's like,
do me a favor.
I can't. I don't have a passport. I can't.
It's like
There's borders.
Saw this random clip of like, maybe y'all saw this. It was like a Latino dude, like maybe in his 50s or something, and he was at like a I don't know if it was a parent teacher conference or something.
Oh,
and
you should leave.
Right.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually from.
Yeah.
And his response to it is like, it's like the Bernie Sanders thing of like, you know, I love this country. And then all the white people start like cheering, like, oh, get the racists out of here. But yes. You know, and it's like this whole thing of, it's like trying to lean in and keep legitimizing this fucking
That's not
illusion.
Right.
Right.
It is, though.
Right. It's like, no, the dude
Yeah.
that said the racist shit actually represents what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Notice how he's still sitting in here.
Right.
You didn't all get up and throw him out of the room. He's still sitting here.
Right.
You know what I mean? You allowed him. It's like, it was like this crazy perfect picture of what the fuck this shit, what white supremacy actually is.
Yeah.
Like, and what this settler colonial project actually is. It's like, no amount of like, I love this, I'm meeting this nasty man with my love for this country and nationalism. No amount of that is gonna fucking save you.
Right.
No amount of that shit is gonna save you. Like, that was the most mind-blowing shit to me.
That's the shit, man. It's like at every turn they try to push this narrative of like, no, you're a real American. You're not what people say you are. You're a real American. They try to push this narrative of like, that's what you really want is to be welcomed into this country, be a real American.
I mean, just the term American sucks,
right.
honestly.
They're like that whole like Black history is American history. 90% of our history is Black people trying to escape this shit.
Dog,
the
like
fuck are you
Cornel
talking
West
about?
uses that kind of rhetoric, you know? And it's like, yeah, that dude was Latino, but like from a Black perspective, like we have that shit so bad too. We got that shit hella bad. You know, like think about, we were talking about Killer Mike, this last one. I don't want to be here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like we have the same, that same sort of like conundrum, and I feel like it does tap into this thing of like, well, if we don't have America, what do we have?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, oh, we got each other.
We
Like,
have human beings.
right. We get to the humanity of everybody on this planet.
Yeah.
Is that so crazy?
Yeah.
Is that so crazy?
It's like, bro, people act like it's the best thing to be welcomed into a fucking nation state. I remember when, and granted, this is already like nationalistic shit, but like when France won the World Cup a few years ago, like 80% of the players are African. And I remember a bunch of people tweeted or were basically like, oh, Africa finally got a World Cup. Yay, look at that. And all these people were like, how could you say such a racist thing? These are real Frenchmen. These people are from France.
Don't even get us started
like,
on the
what
France
the
conversation
fuck are you
and French
talking about?
nationalism.
I mean, yeah.
Don't.
We
that
don't
is
wanna
a whole ass, and I know,
deep in how.
you know, I know African people living in France that could learn all of us on this type of shit. Like,
mean,
really,
yeah.
because that is fucked out there.
Yeah.
It's fucked. Like the mentality out there is crazy.
Bro, I did for a while. I played soccer on Sundays with there's this group of French dudes that would come to the park every week, and we would never schedule it. We would just show up and they would eventually be there, and we would play soccer, have a good time. There was one dude I keep talking back and forth with him, and I don't think he's gonna give a shit that I'm saying this, because we had a long conversation. I told him to his face, you're fucking wrong about all this, like you're on some bullshit. We went back and forth being like,
no, but this is what it is. You know, France, no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand.
No. That's the wild shit. People act like, oh, you don't live there. You don't know the dynamics. You don't know the culture. And he at one point he was like, yo, you know,
this is what we think. You know, this is what we think.
Yeah, he was like, yo, he was like, you know, France forgot its children. You know, they're letting all these immigrants in. They forgot their own children.
What?
I'm like, yo, what the fuck, bro? I hang out with you. What the fuck are you talking about, like, man?
What? Oh, so this was someone you have a relationship with?
It was like
a soccer pal.
It was a soccer, but like we would show up at the park and just like play soccer. And so you play sports with somebody, you don't like learn their opinions first.
Right.
The European.
Oh, yeah.
They got a little more stank on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bro. I love that. Where they're like, oh, racism, that's an American
They're
problem.
like, oh, the accent kind of hides the.
Yeah, right.
If I say like this, it's romantic.
It's okay.
No, but this is what we think.
Beautiful Paris, we don't want these immigrants.
Yo.
We're gonna run out of escargot if we have too many of these.
This racism, it's an American problem, you know.
We've been here for hundreds of years.
Yeah. we don't have this prejudice. As they peel a banana to throw at a soccer player.
How could you make the Mona Lisa and be wrong or racist? It's beautiful.
You sound like the fucking candle from Beauty and the Beast.
All this Tupperware coming into the match.
Be out exactly.
We have beautiful old age candles.
Right.
This Bath and Body Works. Somehow.
Be our guest, not you, but be our guest.
Right. Oh
be
my
our guest. Pass the check.
Right.
That shit is wild,
No, really,
man.
over there. I feel like it's crazy.
It's not the way you put it. It's like a stank. There's a
little bit
flavor,
more bluntness
spice.
to it. They're a little less afraid. Cause
no, you know what it is? It's an eagerness.
Mm-hmm.
The racism out here, it's kind of like, oh, who cares? Yeah, no, I'm racist. Yeah, it's like that. Over there, it's just
right.
How dare you?
Yeah. Right.
I wish fucking Zach was here to tell the story. You know about the story, right?
Which story?
No.
When you say the story, that's
We'll have to say
story is a broad
I'm trying to think.
term.
He should fucking tell this story. I don't know if he'll be on in the future to tell it. I should just tell it at this point. But he was in a fucking restaurant with Earl, some other people, and they were just talking. And there was this French couple. It was like a black establishment or like Caribbean. It's like all black people in there. And then there's this white French couple walks in. And they basically are standing on the side and they're like whispering to each other. And then they start like, they're basically just like spectating. Like it gets to the point where they're obviously just standing there and watching them and like snickering to each other and like laughing and then looking back and kind of being like that. And I don't want to tell the whole story but I'll just get to the point and say that Zach asked them to stop, and the dude was like almost like appalled that he would even, it was like he was appalled that he even spoke to him. And the first words out of his mouth were, "The niggas." And I'll leave the story. If Zach comes on again, I'll let him explain what transpired following that.
Oh my God, bro.
But that story is like this little perfect picture example of their fucking attitude.
Oh,
Bro, I'm telling you,
that
the
shit is
accent.
like-
They think if they say that shit in an accent,
Right.
Oh.
And it's all good.
Because it's a class thing. It's like
Yeah.
it is
Oh my
it
God.
is a class thing.
Yeah.
You know how like in the US we people are thinking of like racist rednecks and like people in the South, and it's like
Yeah.
this like the underdog, like the dirty, and then fuck black people,
right?
But with them, it's like this: you're dirt, you're dirt, and it's like, like look at me, Right. Which over here, that's kind of like reserved for like that's like the fascists, like the Richard Spencers are kind of on that wave.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And even the ones, the fascists here.
I mean, the Southern racists too, like the upper class ones, they are too, but they're still Southern, so it doesn't. They know it doesn't signal. It doesn't in terms of optics. It doesn't come across that way. Yeah. But like a French person or like a European person. Not to say that there aren't like working class fascist movements, because there are in Europe,
right?
Not just in France, but like fucking Germany and like everywhere. Sweden.
You can almost say like here we try to just write off racism as a purely ignorance thing when there's plenty of people that know way better than to do that shit who are just like completely fucking racist.
Right.
Yeah, it's like even fascists here have a sense of like you gotta pretend to respect public.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. Is like here I feel like we try to hide it more.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe,
depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are.
Yeah. It's like that's how you end up with a fucking like Latino head of the fucking Proud Boys. Because here it's so like manipulative to the point where it's like
tokens. We'll put the tokens.
Yeah, we have our tokens where you can say like, how can you call us white supremacists if I'm Latino, and it's like that's like the logic. It's the crypto fascist shit.
Like they say that he's not white.
Yeah, and then he puts out a fucking shit says like, how can I be a Proud Boy if I'm not proud?
If I'm not a boy, I'm a man.
It's like that's it right there. You calling me a Proud Boy. If I was a Proud Boy, I would be saying I was a fucking Proud Boy because Proud Boys are fucking proud. He really said that.
Yeah, it's like how Gavin McInnes said he was a Western chauvinist. It's just all euphemisms.
Right.
Yeah, which is the most thin euphemism I've ever.
Yeah, no, that's like.
I was on a set with him once.
That's like a vertically challenged.
I was on a set with Gavin McInnes once, years ago.
Really?
When I barely knew who he was.
I guess you left Vice a long time ago.
No, it was like
we want to save that story for another time, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that. I'm only saying that because I'm hungry, and I feel like we're pushing up on the 3.
Yeah,
the big 3.
I feel it. Yeah. I could do it. I could save it for another time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that has to be
bloom
unpacked.
into a lot more.
Yeah.
I felt that even just touching the France.
Oh my god,
nationalism.
I gotta hear that.
I mean, we could even go
at
deeper than that. Yeah. I mean, they just had an election.
The niggers.
The niggers.
I mean, to think you're in a black establishment in another country and you look a group of black people in the face and it's like, oh, nothing would happen to me.
They get their ass wiped with like silk.
That's
like,
the other thing though.
Are rich.
That's the other thing though. Like, and I'll leave it. I said the other thing.
Yeah, I heard that.
This is the other thing though. Yeah, there's a broader cultural thing with French people and Europeans too. Of like, just I can't say Europeans that broadly, but like French people of like, I'll just say whatever the fuck. I can say whatever the fuck, and there's no consequences, which you could argue is like a good thing in one sense, but then in another, it's like, well, you're saying some shit, and you got some power and violence over me, and now you're saying some shit to me,
right?
Yeah.
Liberty,
right? No, I say we can talk. This is how we talk. You know, the nigger.
How you say nigger
in French?
This is how we talk. No, this is how we talk. Anyways.
Oh boy, I tell you what, them Frenchmen.
I tell you what.
Better be careful here in America. You get your shit slapped across the face.
Shit, if that dude was in the South, there were some non-black people that would have whooped his ass. I feel like not even the South, here in New York City.
Fucking smack him with a twisted
he was just it was like the right place and time for him to get what he did.
No, it sounds like he was quite lucky. And if he kept that behavior up, would have been corrected on it.
I mean, he wasn't lucky, but I'll let Zach tell that story.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Would have had a twisted tea ready just in hand.
Do we need to do another one of these?
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
We do.
Is it on the 3 or after the 3?
After the 3.
Yeah.
So.
I can't promise it's gonna be as perfect, but
look, man, we can try.
1, 2, 3.